Chapter 47. Summer slowly passed, and autumn came, and it gradually cooled down. The pond on Zhuangzi had been dug, and the water from the river was channeled into it. Cherries collected a lot of duck eggs and goose eggs, and they were all placed on the Kong to hatch. A group of chicks chased and played back and forth in the yard. These days, they didn't need to be fed porridge, and they could eat something hard. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at the chicks enviously. They couldn't eat things that were too hard now. They had to hold the pancakes in their mouths for a while before they could swallow them. The meat could only be stewed into pieces, but they could eat some fish. Chicks grow faster than people. They can eat sand after a few days out of the shell. Pomegranates things also need to be ground quickly. I thought of something good. Zhang Xiaobao pinched a bug in the flowers next to the yard in his hand and put it on the ground. The chicks immediately came to eat it. The bug was bigger. It was a kind of green insect that was about to form a cocoon. There were many things like eyes on it. After eating for a summer, it had already become fat. The chicks held it in their mouths and shook their heads vigorously. There were also chicks coming over to fight for food. Several chicks eliminated the bug in 2 or 3 seconds. What idea! Wang Wan was not like other girls who were afraid of bugs. She didn't care at all. Instead, she was interested in Zhang Xiaobao's idea. Actually, it's nothing much. I just want to get something for my grandparents and your grandparents to eat. Last night, your family came to my house and kissed me with saliva all over my face. I want to get some bone marrow and grind the bones into powder to make oil tea noodles. I want to put in some walnuts or something. Zhang Xiaobao saw Wang Wan's grandparents yesterday. Both of them were not in good health. They stayed there and kept rubbing their legs. It seemed that they were lacking calcium. What's the use of it? Can it be absorbed? Wang Wan was a little grateful to Zhang Xiaobao. After all, it was good to have a predecessor in this life. The elders of both families were still around. This was the greatest happiness. I think so. If it's calcium supplements, it's just calcium and vitamin A-D. Pure calcium can't be extracted, but there are still other edible things. For example, the oil from fish liver, or the layer on top of milk and goat's milk after it has been boiled. You can just add it in. Alright, let's do that. When our 2 families are done eating, we'll take it out and sell it. There are so many things in there. Who knows what the formula is? It can even treat night blindness. Eat it first. When I'm free, we'll sell it in bulk. Zhang Xiaobao planned. He squatted down and touched Chick. Chick was not afraid. It tilted its head and looked at Zhang Xiaobao curiously. Let's also drink it. The formula needs to be adjusted. If there's too much calcium, something bad will happen. Remove the walnuts temporarily for adults. It's too oily and easy to cause cardiovascular and cerebrovascular diseases. Let them drink more tea at ordinary times. I heard that ginkgo is good. Good things should be used by our own people first. Wang Wan agreed. She and Zhang Xiaobao recently increased the amount of exercise to continue to supplement nutrition, especially high-calorie things. Xiao Hong listened on the side. She didn't understand some of the things that the little child and his wife said every day. She only knew that as long as they talked seriously and helped each other to correct each other, the final thing was definitely something powerful. Chick was full and ran away in the blink of an eye. Ernie hurried back at this time. As soon as he entered the yard, he said excitedly, "Little child, it's good news." Little child, good news. The owner of the Byway Pavilion went to my brother and me yesterday and said that he wanted to buy the chili sauce. I sold it to him for 2 more coins as you told me. And the carrot was the same. When he went back, he drove the steward away and said that he had to pay a lot of money. "Little child, the boss of the byway pavilion wants to buy 500 don of carrots from us at the price of 7 coins per kilogram. Do you want to sell it? It's a lot of money all of a sudden. It's much more valuable than when we exchanged it. 500 don. His appetite is not small and he is also shrewd. When you go back and tell him that there are not many carrots left. We can sell him 20 don of carrots at most, which is more than 2,000 kilograms. It's enough for him to sell until winter. After a few days, the price will increase." At this time, there was no need for Zhang Xiaobao to speak. Wang Wan made the decision. She still knew such a simple thing. The boss just wanted to wait for the price to increase in the future. "Well, that's it. If you want it, you can help me to transport it. It's too late to go back and forth. Ernie, let Dania do it first. It's the same to sell the sauce. You can prepare in these 2 days. After the autumn harvest, you can collect more food for me. I will give you money, the more the better." In a few days, the grain harvest would begin. Zhang Xiaobao really had no one around him. What's more, he couldn't collect in one place. It was easy to attract the attention of the government. He should have a share, his mother should have a share, and Wang Wan should have a share. Song Jinggong could be sent to a farther place to collect. "I understand. Little Gongzi, you can rest assured. I will do whatever you ask me to do." Ernie changed his original clever appearance and pretended to be simple and honest. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan both laughed. If Ernie was simple and honest, how many clever people would be left? After another 2 days, Pomegranate turned all the things she picked up and the things she bought at a low price into powder. At this time, she couldn't feed them. It was a bit wasteful. She had to wait for the grain to be finished and mix in the coarse bran and wheat bran. Cherries made a connected Kong bed by herself. The Kong bed was full of eggs, duck eggs, and goose eggs. A batch of chicks had hatched and were taken away by Sangrini. She also sold him some special feed to feed the chickens on the road. On the other side of the earthworm farm, Pomegranate also arranged people to buy rotten firewood and feces from various families and put them there. Below were the earthworms dug by the children. There would be a lot more earthworms next year. Only Little Red had nothing to do. She listened to Zhang Xiaobao and caught some fish that could withstand the cold. She threw them into the pond and left them alone. The ducks and geese were not in position yet. Even though she was envious of others, she knew that she still had to wait. Song Jinggong's matter was easy. After all, he used to take care of a lot of things. It was very simple to buy some soybeans and find a reliable person in Zhuangzi to extract the oil. The oil yield was relatively low. It was not 15% as Zhang Xiaobao expected. It would reach 10%, but it was a problem of craftsmanship. After squeezing the oil, the remaining bean cakes were not wasted. They were sent directly to Ernio's family and asked them to keep them to make chili sauce. Everything was waiting for the next year to play a role. At present, only the chili sauce and carrots could be profitable. The 2 shops in Sanshui County did not have much income in comparison. Autumn is coming. When the first leaf fell, Zhang Xiaobao stood by the river outside. He looked at the withered yellow in front of him and sighed. Yes, they will harvest tomorrow. Fortunately, it didn't rain. When the golden yellow filled the eyes, I found that not only were the clouds in the sky gone, but also some memories that I was afraid of but didn't want to forget. Wang Wan's eyes stared at the flowing water. Looking at the clouds in the sky, she was a little homesick. At this time, she felt the existence of Zhang Xiaobao. She knew that she would not be so lonely if she had a person to accompany her. She was grateful, or rather, they were together. It should snow in winter. We will make a big snowman then. Even if it melts in spring, there will be snowmen every year. Zhang Xiaobao did not know how to comfort Wang Wan. He had no regrets. If it were in that world, he would not have lived until now. Well, let's go back. Set up the swing and exercise the adaptability to the height. Why can't you study science and engineering? There are such talents in prison, right? I also want an electric light. It's too dark at night. Wang Wan pulled on her clothes, turned around and walked back. Some things needed to be adapted to, but still needed to be adapted to. Don't be afraid. We have money this year. Prepare more candles. When the time comes, we will light this. Zhang Xiaobao knew that Wang Wan was not afraid of the dark, but afraid of dreams. Why don't you know how to comfort me more? I am a child now. Wang Wan deliberately said to liven up the atmosphere. Zhang Xiaobao smiled. I have been doing it, just like the song I eavesdropped on. It was by the window of a small school. When I went back last year, you had just put on new cotton gowns. When I come to see you today, you have become fat and taller. Do you remember, the lotus in the pond changed into a lotus pod? There are not many flowers, but there is no need to worry about color. I dyed the leaves red. What song? It's so nice. How come I don't remember? Wang Wan asked in surprise. The words of West Wind belong to the elementary school appreciation class. You may not have appreciated it at that time. There are always music teachers who cut corners. When you heard it, you felt it was nice. Later on, when you grew up, you realized that it contained philosophy and hope. Zhang Xiaobao kicked a small stone, scaring the chicken that had grown up a lot and ran away. What's the point of bullying a chicken? Wang Wan's mood improved a lot. I want to bully the old yellow dog, but I am afraid that he will bite me. Zhang Xiaobao said cooperatively. Xiao Hong had been standing beside the little young master and little Miss Cuckoo. When she heard their conversation by the river, she seemed to feel that the little young master and little Miss Cuckoo were very far away from her. Only now did she realize that the two people were back. That feeling was really uncomfortable. The swing had been prepared for a long time, but it had not been set up. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned to the courtyard, she immediately arranged for people to set up the swing. At this time, the sky was high and the clouds were light, so it was most comfortable to swing. In order to not accidentally fall, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also specially designed something that can be stuck in front, behind, left and right, just like the up and down octopus that they used to play. At the beginning, as long as there was a little force, the two people could swing very high by themselves. They let out a child's laughter in the sky, scaring Xiao Hong to the point that she was very anxious. When the swing finally stopped, Xiao Hong hurriedly asked the little young master and little miss to think about other things. She asked, "Little young master, what are we eating tonight?" "What are we eating?" "Among the chicks that Cherry hatches, it's impossible that all of them are hens. She keeps the roosters somewhere else. There are only 2 here. Go and get one. Tonight, we'll eat virgin chicken." Zhang Xiaobao jumped off the swing and pulled Wang Wan into the house to read a book. Chapter 48. The next day, it was a crisp autumn day. The people from the Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi started to harvest the grain in the fields. The adults tied the grain in bundles at the front and transported them to the grain sunning field. The children held a basket and carefully picked up the ears of rice or wheat that were left behind. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's families also went over to act as a demonstration. In fact, they didn't need to do it. Everything seemed to be the same as usual. The only difference was that this year's harvesting method was different. In the past, each family collected their own grain and handed it over to Zhuangzi. This year, both Zhuangzi's families provided the meals together. Everyone started from the same field and collected the grain. They piled it up at the place where they received it and made a mark. The advantage of this was that everyone had a competition when they were working, and no one was slacking off. Everyone was watching how much they did. If they really wanted to slack off, they would be too embarrassed to even open their mouths when they were eating. At this time, Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao also watched from the side. Pieces of rice and wheat were harvested and transported away. Everyone was full of hope. Zhangzhi Zhuangzi had a reward of 100 households, so they could pay 100 households less to the higher-ups. Although it was said to be 100 households, it was actually 100 people. Otherwise, if everyone combined into one household, it would be possible to produce 10,000 people. Wang Wan's family didn't have this privilege. They still had to pay what they were supposed to. When the grain is collected, give some of yours to my family. My family has to pay a lot more. Wang Wan felt that it was unfair when she thought of this. Zhangzhi Zhuangzi's 100 households were better off than the Wang family's Zhuangzi because they didn't have to pay. It was said that the Zhang family received less every year and kept more. Why? The two Zhuangzis don't have accounts together. I have my own accounts. If you want to give, take both of ours. You can't use my family's. Zhang Xiaobao immediately objected. This kind of thing could not be confused. His family did not touch his money. It was all his own. Then I'll take 200 bolts of silk from our storehouse and send them home, Wang Wan said in a fit of pique. Take it. How much is 200? 1 bolt for 200 copper coins, 2 bolts for 40,000 copper coins, 40 taels of silver. Here you go. Zhang Xiaobao had an indifferent expression on his face. Stingy. What are we going to eat today? Do you want to eat virgin chicken? Wang Wan said a few words. She didn't want to be entangled in this kind of thing. No, there's something even better today. Look at that field. What else is there besides food? There are others, Wang Wan replied. Other than humans, look, they're still flying over there. One is chasing the other, and the other is jumping. Grasshoppers, we'll eat this today. Later, I'll get the children to help me catch them. I'll trade them with soybean oil. When we get back, I'll fry them in oil. It's fragrant and crispy. Zhang Xiaobao pointed at the grasshoppers flying back and forth in the field. He swallowed his saliva and said, well, when we're done cutting, let them catch them. We'll also release the chicks. Cherries hatched so many chicks, they'll be able to gain a lot of meat this time. Wang Wan didn't reject this kind of thing. In the past, when she was training, she ate a lot of them. Not to mention cooked ones, even raw ones would be stuffed into her mouth. When she bit down, a stream of green water would come out of her mouth. When it was time for lunch, there were even more people. It could be said that men and women, old and young, all went to work together. The lunch was relatively simple. There were oil cakes, fried radish slices with meat, and egg and cucumber soup. There was enough to drink. In this way, they were busy for 3 days in a row before they finished harvesting the grain on the two Zhuangzi fields. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also continued to eat fried grasshoppers for 3 days. When the chicks were released, there weren't many grasshoppers left in the field before they could harvest the grains. Little young master, it's all thanks to the chicks on the Zhuangzi fields. Otherwise, these grasshoppers would have eaten a lot this year. Don't look down on them because they're small, they can't handle a lot of them. While harvesting the grains, they have to feed the grasshoppers at the same time. Xiao Hong also ate 2 meals and felt that the taste was really good. Now, she picked up one and stuffed it into her mouth. She even sighed with emotion. The speaker didn't mean it, but the listener did. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other and smiled at the same time. Wang Wan opened her mouth. Xiao Hong, go and call Steward Zhang over. Xiao Hong didn't know what the two little ancestors were going to do. She ran to the back and called Steward Zhang over. She began to eat again. Little young master, little miss, you two are looking for me. The steward was also puzzled. Yes, after crossing the bridge over there, we'll reach Gujia village, right? Their grain hasn't been finished yet, right? Wang Wan pointed in that direction. Yes, they don't have little young master and little miss like us. They don't arrange for people to harvest together. They harvest separately. They're more than a day behind us. Steward Zhang replied. Then I'll give you a task. You drive our chicks on the Zhuangzi fields over there to help. It's not easy for everyone. Let the chicks eat and help them eat some grasshoppers. It's considered good karma. We don't want any benefits and help for free. Go. Zhang Xiaobao continued to speak and put on a compassionate expression. Those who didn't know would really think that he was very kind. Of course, Steward Zhang didn't think so. What kind of people were little young master and little miss? They wouldn't do things that didn't benefit them. As soon as he heard this, he understood. The chicks on the Zhuangzi fields had obviously grown in these 2 days because they ate the grasshoppers. Without hesitation, he called a few people and got 2 old hens to lead the way. A group of chicks rushed over there. Sure enough, when they arrived, they wanted to thank him. They watched the chicks eat the grasshoppers in their fields and kept talking about the kindness and righteousness of the Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi. They weren't worried that the chicks would eat the grains. There were grasshoppers. Who would eat grain? It would be strenuous to use people to catch them. The chicks chased after them as if they didn't know tiredness. Their 2 little legs kept moving, eating and pooping at the same time. They even fattened the ground. The ones who benefited the most were the farmers. The grasshoppers ate the grains, but their masters didn't care. They still had to pay the required amount. Each and every one of them took advantage of the break to thank Steward Zhang and let him have his fill. When Gu Zhuang's grasshoppers were almost finished, he drove the chicks to other Zhuangzi fields. Even if the harvest was good, there were still grasshoppers in the fields. The chicks ate like this for half a month. One by one, they ate until they were fat. Their heads were almost shrunk into their necks. They walked there like small balls. Just as the little chickens were feasting on the food, both the Zhang and Wang families began to move. They went everywhere to collect grain. It was the autumn harvest, and this year's weather was not bad. The price of grain was low. The 2 farms were divided into 4 groups of people. Some were far away, some were near. They bought with money, some with silk, and some with other items. Because of the trust in Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, the 2 Zhuangzi put in their savings. In the end, even if they didn't make much money, they wouldn't lose money. This kind of trust made Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sigh with emotion. Tell me, the grains are almost collected. There are warehouses everywhere in Zhuangzi. What are you going to do with the grains? Wang Wan had been thinking about this for a long time. Okay, I'll tell you. I'm going to give some of them away for free. I'm going to sell some of them at a high price elsewhere. I think there will be some left in the end. Zhang Xiaobao finally said. Where are you going to sell them and where are you going to give them away? East of Taihang Mountain and Hunan area. There are still chickens. When the time comes, I'll send some over to raise them. I'll sell the eggs there. With the money from selling the eggs, I'll buy a large amount of dried sea goods from Linhai in Shandong. Then I'll ship them back. That's another sum of money. Zhang Xiaobao squeezed his way in. You give them something that they will want. You sell it at a high price and they will buy it. The chickens will be big next year. What are they going to eat? Wang Wan also played along with Zhang Xiaobao and asked one question after another. According to the historical records, there was a drought in the third year of the Kaiyuan era of the Tang dynasty. There was a plague of locusts. This year's harvest should be relatively the same as before. But since there was a drought, there were more locusts. It will show up next year. I'm going to use the grains to exchange for the official reward. Driving the chickens to eat the locusts is considered a merit, right? We have to sell the grains secretly. We can't just give them away for free. Zhang Xiaobao finally explained his plan. Wang Wan nodded. Good calculation. No wonder you're thinking of ways to make money like crazy. It's all for the sake of collecting grains. In the end, it's all for the sake of your family's 100 households reward. I'm impressed. But Comrade Zhang Xiaobao, what's in it for my family? This. Listen to me. This needs to be done. When the time comes, your family will benefit a lot. Come with me. I'll teach you what to say and what to do. Of course, this is not a lie. There should be a reward for doing good deeds. What's the saying? It's not asking for anything in return for doing good deeds. If that's the case, there will be fewer people doing good deeds. If someone really does ask for something in return, others will criticize him. So, we have to leave a way out for others. Zhang Xiaobao spoke eloquently. Wang Wan curled her lips. Isn't it the story of Confucius? I don't know if there's such a thing. It's just an excuse for yourself to get benefits. I'll believe you this time. And don't tell anyone else, especially my father. If he knows that I'm selling grains at a high price, he might ask me to donate the grains. I don't want to lose money. Zhang Xiaobao looked around like a thief, even though he and Wang Wan were using lip language. Look at how scared you are. You really have a guilty conscience. You know that what you're doing is wrong. But I still support you. Why should we give our things to others for free? They're all obtained through hard work. Wang Wan leaned on Zhang Xiaobao with a smile. Zhang Xiaobao's actions just now were too interesting. The two of them discussed for a while and finally decided on this matter. Then, they found Song Jinggong and started to arrange other things, like selling the soybean oil. Little young master, how much should we sell the soybean oil? I'm afraid that others won't buy it. Song Jinggong was a little uncertain when he heard this, especially since he didn't want to be cheated. Of course, no one will buy it if we sell it directly. Go to Sanshui County and set up a stall. Mix the dough and then fry it and sell it to others. When others have eaten it, the taste will be different. They will ask you, or you can find someone to ask deliberately. Do you understand? Zhang Xiaobao guided him a little and Song Jinggong immediately understood. Got it. I'll say it's the oil. Chapter 49. The leaves had all fallen, and the fragrant grass was gone without a trace. The pine and cypress were as green as ever. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had already put on new clothes. Xiaohong had nothing to do, so she got up early to catch up with the ducks and geese hatched by cherries and headed to her own pond. The servant next to her was replaced by the less busy pomegranate. Song Jinggong was addicted to selling soybean oil and only came back to report a few days ago. Dinyo was still in charge of selling soy sauce and carrots. Wang Wan was carrying 2 small sandbags in her hands. She gently swung them as she chatted with Zhang Xiaobao. It looks like winter is coming. When it snows, what can we do to make money in winter? I don't know. Anyway, there's a Kong in the village, so we don't have to worry about the cold. Zhang Xiaobao was also carrying 2 sandbags. I'm actually worried about your family's Zhuangzi. This year, there's a lot of food everywhere during the autumn harvest, so there's bound to be people thinking about this place. Wang Wan threw the sandbags far away. She was distracted and almost tripped over. Zhang Xiaobao was careful. The sandbags he threw were farther away than Wang Wan's. He trotted over and picked them up. He hesitated and said, "Don't be afraid. There's a way to deal with the people coming this year." Because they were wearing a lot of clothes, the 2 of them only played for an hour before sweating profusely. Shirlu had already prepared hot water. Seeing that the sky was gradually darkening, she advised them, "Little master, little miss, it's windy outside. Why don't we play in the house?" The 2 responded and turned around to go back with Pomegranate. At this time, Song Jinggong, who had just returned yesterday, rushed into the courtyard. When he saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, his calm face revealed a worried expression. "Zijin, you're in such a hurry. Did something good happen?" Zhang Xiaobao heard the footsteps and looked back. When he saw Song Jinggong, he asked with a smile. "My little ancestor, what good news?" "Something big has happened. Little young master, the business over there can't be done." Song Jinggong saw that the little young master was still in the mood to joke, and his expression became more bitter. Wang Wan chimed in, "Is there anything young master Song can't do? Back then, you deceived many people. Why can't you deal with it today?" "My little ancestor, this time is different from the past. I can't lie to you. Someone in Sanshui County said that something happened after eating the soybean oil sold by Zhuangzi Zhang. They called a doctor to check on him and said that he was poisoned. It's not easy to do business anymore." Song Jinggong had a dejected look on his face as he recounted what had happened in detail. Yesterday, when Song Jinggong returned to Sanshui County, he sold both soybean oil and tofu. He could buy them with money or exchange them with other things, especially soybeans. 1 caddy of soybeans could be exchanged for 2 caddies of tofu. He did this so that no one would know that soybean oil was made from soybeans. That night, when Song Jinggong was about to ask someone to pack up the stall, a group of people came. Song Jinggong knew them. These people were idle and never did anything good. At first, he thought that they were here to force him to pay. When they came closer, he knew that they were here to buy soybean oil, a total of 20 caddies. At that time, Song Jinggong didn't think much about it and sold it to them. Who knew that as soon as he came out of the mindful residence this morning, those people came to the door, followed by a doctor who testified. They said that they bought oil last night, and when they went back, one of them was sick. The few of them even carried the sick person in front of the stall as a witness. Song Jinggong knew that he was being blackmailed at that time. When he saw the people around him looking at him, he explained. Who knew that the doctor insisted that the person lying there fell sick after eating the soybean oil sold by the stall? His words were so convincing that people had no choice but to believe it. Those people didn't say any threatening words. They just wanted Song Jinggong to take out 50 taels of silver. The people around didn't know who to believe. Listening to the words of those people, it seemed that they wanted more money. But since they fell sick from eating the soybean oil and there was a doctor as a witness, they hesitated for a moment. When Song Jinggong saw this, he knew that he couldn't do business anymore. He hastily packed up the stall and ordered people to send the items back to the mindful house. He told those people to come back the next day and then hurried back to Zhuangzi. Oh, so that's how it is, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan nodded at the same time, but they didn't show any embarrassed expression. For the purpose of illegal sexual activity, the use of threats or blackmail against the victim to forcibly ask for public or private property. It's for extortion and blackmail. Xiao Bao, it's up to you. Wang Wan opened her mouth and said a series of words. She turned her head and looked at Zhang Xiaobao, meaning that she wanted to see how Zhang Xiaobao would deal with it in the future. Zhang Xiaobao pursed his lips, as if he didn't want to deal with this matter. He sighed, it seems that I have to spend money again. Little master, are you going to give them money? When Song Jinggong heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, he thought that Zhang Xiaobao would choose to give them money. He advised, Little master, you can't give them money. If you give them money today, they will come back tomorrow. Besides, there are other ruffians in Sanshui County. When they see that there is profit, they will take turns to go to the paralyzed people. Who said that I'm going to give them money? It's not easy for me to earn money. If I want to spend it, I have to spend it on something useful. When you go back today, find out who is in those ruffians' families. Then use your high scholar status to see the county magistrate of Sanshui County. Bring along the 100 taels of silver, my Zhuangzi's chili sauce and the soybean oil you sell. Zhang Xiaobao naturally wouldn't give people money for free. He thought about how Tuqiao village was under Sanshui County's management and could still use it next year. It was better to give them money first than to use it now. Song Jinggong didn't know about this. When he heard the 100 taels of silver, he couldn't help but tremble. He swallowed his saliva and said, Little master, those ruffians won't really ask for 50 taels. If they can extort 10 or 8 taels, they will be satisfied. 100 taels. Isn't that more? If you give me 20 taels, I can get the county magistrate to help me. Song Jinggong wasn't wrong. 100 taels of silver was too much. Usually, for small matters, they only need to give 10 or 5 taels of silver and the county magistrate will be flexible. Without waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to speak, Wang Wan opened her mouth and said, Little Master Song, do as Xiaobao says. Give them money to show their attitude. Let those ruffians know and give them a warning. What's a warning? Song Jinggong really didn't understand. Although he had cheated many people before, he didn't understand. Let him know that 100 taels of silver can be used to find him for a small matter. It can also be sent to his superior to find his fault. If it weren't for the fact that we don't have much money and have changed all of it into food, we can directly give him 200 taels of silver. It will be useful next year. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao had a tacit understanding. She knew what Zhang Xiaobao was thinking about and how to deal with people. Song Jinggong thought for a while and finally understood. He nodded and said, Little Master and Little Miss are still the best. I will do it now. After talking, Song Jinggong was anxious about the matter and left in a hurry. Pomegranate and the other two continued to walk into the house. Little Master, when Little Master Song came and said something, I was scared and didn't know what to do. I didn't expect you to solve it so easily. Little Master seems to be not afraid of this kind of thing at all. While Shirlu bathed the two of them, she exclaimed in admiration. Pomegranate, you have to remember that Xiao Bao is not afraid of this kind of thing. This kind of thing may not be easily solved. It's best that the county magistrate doesn't dare to do anything and takes our money. It will be easier to find him to do things in the future. Wang Wan didn't care about this kind of thing. Such a small trick, if it was used on Zhang Xiaobao, he wouldn't even bother to do it. Zhang Xiaobao also echoed and said, Indeed, I still hope that those people have a higher status. At least there is a powerful person in their family. When they really want to do things, they are not afraid of spending money. They are only afraid that there is no place to send money. Little Master and Little Miss are talking about profound things. Pomegranate doesn't understand at all. Pomegranate listened to the two little masters and felt that she was very stupid. Pomegranate, don't be sad. Listen more and see more in the future and you will know. You did very well in the things that I asked you to do. Wang Wan was afraid that Pomegranate would lose confidence and quickly comforted her. Song Jinggong left the manor and hurried back. When it was evening, he finally returned to Sanshui County. He took out some silver from the caretaker's inn and bought some bean oil and chili sauce. Without any delay, he went straight to the county yamen. Song Jinggong had met the county magistrate twice. He gave the gatekeeper a few copper coins. After the gatekeeper reported, the gatekeeper said that the county magistrate was inviting him in and let him in. After walking through 2 doors, he came to the study. Song Jinggong directly bowed and said, "Student Song Jinggong greets the county magistrate. You don't have to be so polite. Please take a seat. I heard that Song Jinggong has done a few good deeds for the people of Sanshui County. I have long wanted to meet Song Jinggong, but unfortunately, I have been busy with the county affairs and couldn't find the time. Today, Song Jinggong has fulfilled one of my wishes." The county magistrate Qing Lingxiang was only able to meet Song Jinggong because of his scholarly achievements, so he also started to be polite. "County magistrate, I am really flattered to be remembered by you. Student Zijin will definitely follow your instructions in the future and work for the people wholeheartedly. I came in a hurry and didn't prepare anything decent. I only have some vegetable oil and chili sauce. It's too shabby." Song Jinggong didn't pass the things to others and directly brought them to the study. He said respectfully as he slowly placed the big bag on the table. The oil and chili sauce were mostly packed in jars and there was a slight sound coming from them. However, there were 10 ingots and 10 taels of silver. It wasn't easy to get such a large amount of silver. When County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang heard this, his eyes lit up and signaled for Song Jinggong to drink some tea. He seemed to feel that the bag was a bit of a hindrance and used his hand to push it to the side. As he was pushing, his hand grabbed the place where the money was. When he grabbed it, Qing Lingxiang's expression changed. He roughly estimated how much money it was. So much money. What was Song Jinggong trying to do? Could it be that he killed someone and wanted him to change his sentence? This was difficult to handle. However, since the reason was so big, he could think of a solution. "Good, I have heard about this chili sauce long ago. It's a good opportunity to taste it. Zijin is so thoughtful. What has Zijin been busy with recently?" Qing Lingxiang began to think about how to deal with this matter. Replying to "Sir, I feel that I have no hope of taking the exam again. A few days ago, I found a good zhuangzi and worked as an assistant. This oil and chili sauce was made by that zhuangzi. Who knew? Sigh, let's not talk about it. Today, I am here to visit Sir." As Song Jinggong spoke, he had a relaxed expression on his face, but as he sighed, his expression turned into one of dejection. "Today, there are 2 more chapters. In the next week, there will be 3 chapters a day. I urgently need to collect and recommend. Thank you." Chapter 50. Of course, Qing Lingxiang didn't think that Song Jinggong didn't want to say anything. He was just waiting for him to ask. Since he had the money, he would ask. "Zijin, you are treating me like an outsider. Is there something you are unhappy about? Tell us so that we can discuss it together. It's better than you keeping it in your heart. Since my lord has asked, this student will naturally obey. It's all because this vegetable oil has been selling well these past few days, but in the end, it attracted trouble. This morning, a few hooligans actually came to my oil stall and said that someone had been poisoned by it. They even found a doctor to testify. I have never encountered such a situation. Those people wanted me to take out 50 taels of silver. I am their advisor, where can I find 50 taels of silver? I am really helpless. If I don't give them the money tomorrow, those people might drag me to see the officials. I sold quite a lot of vegetable oil these few days. Also, the fried food in the morning was made with this oil. If it was really poisonous, why was it that only one person was poisoned and the others were fine? I am really speechless. Song Jinggong shook his head and sighed as he spoke. It really looked like that was the case. Qing Lingxiang looked at the money on the table. The money there was more than what they asked for. No money. If you don't have money, why did you send it to me? Luckily, it wasn't a big matter. It was just a bunch of hooligans who wanted to extort some money. He didn't expect Song Jinggong to have such a bad temper. He would rather give me more money than those hooligans. Well, at least I got some benefits. It's just that the money was too much. Could it be that he wanted me to throw those people into jail? Then sentence them to a serious crime? I still have to ask. How preposterous. Zijin, don't worry. I will make the decision for you. You will write a complaint today and send it up tomorrow morning. I will teach those people a lesson. You don't have to be so angry. The people of Sanshui County are peaceful under your rule. Only those who don't know their place would dare to do such a thing. There is no need to punish them. I hope you can help me persuade them. Under your rule, I don't think there will be such unreasonable people. Song Jinggong took a step back in order to advance. He praised and ridiculed the county magistrate. It was all up to the county magistrate. Zijin is right. In that case, I'll send someone to bring those people over tomorrow to correct Zijin's reputation. Zijin, you don't have to worry. Oh, it's already late. I think Zijin hasn't eaten yet. Why don't you have a bite here? The county magistrate, Qing Lingxiang, of course, understood that he had to do something about this matter. Fortunately, the other party did not push him too hard. It seemed that he would have to help the other party in the future. Otherwise, it would be troublesome to take so much money. Thank you, sir. Dinner has been prepared at home, and there are people waiting for this student to return. It is inconvenient for me to disturb you. Sir is busy, so please take care of your health. This student will take his leave now. When Song Jinggong saw that things were almost done, and that the other party was beginning to send him off, he stood up and bowed again before respectfully turning around to leave. Behind him, he heard a voice saying, "Send young Master Song off on my behalf." Early the next morning, the county magistrate, Qing Lingxiang, found someone to ask about this matter. In the end, his subordinates all knew about it and told him about it. Qing Lingxiang suddenly felt a headache. Why did he have to meet this wastrel? If it was someone else, it would be easy to handle. He could only order someone to find Song Jinggong and have a good discussion. Song Jinggong heard the call and hurried over. When he saw the county magistrate, he knew that the matter was difficult to handle. Before he could say anything, Qing Lingxiang spoke first. Zijin, yesterday I already knew that the leader was the state's minister of war, Zhou Qiong's nephew, Zhou Shihu. Today, I will look for him to ask. If there is really 50 taels of silver missing, I will give it to him. If not, Zijin, you have to make another plan. Qing Lingxiang indeed did not have any other ideas. If there was really money, he could just give half of the money to the other party. However, he was afraid that the other party was after something else. If that was the case, it was not something that could be settled with 50 taels of silver. When Song Jinggong heard this, he also knew that he was in trouble. The provincial treasurer Tsang Consigliere was the provincial treasurer Tsang Consigliere. He was in charge of taxation and storage, and even the county magistrate didn't dare to offend him. It seemed that he really had to think of another way after asking clearly. Therefore, he said, "Lord, for telling Zijin the truth, Zijin is very grateful. Zijin will go back and wait for news. If that Zhou Shihu is only asking for 50 taels of silver, Zijin will definitely give it to him. If Zijin will need to go back to Zhuangzi to discuss. I hope that Lord can help delay it for one day. At most one day, there will definitely be a result. Oh. There will be a solution in one day. Zijin, don't worry. There is no need to be anxious. It is still possible to entrust 3 to 5 people. After all, one day is too short. Zijin will only need time to go and come back. Qing Lingxiang thought that Song Jinggong had become muddle-headed. After taking the money, he naturally had to help more. There is no need. There will be a way when Zijin returns to the village. You can come back directly. One day is enough. Song Jinggong said firmly. Since that is the case, then Zijin should go back and wait. After I ask Zhou Shihu, I will have someone inform Zijin. I see that Zijin is so sure. Could it be that there is an expert in Zhuangzi? Qing Lingxiang saw that Song Jinggong's eyes were clear and was curious. When Song Jinggong thought about how he had lost and how he had earned money, a trace of respect appeared on his face. He nodded. That is correct. This matter is extremely difficult for a student. To that person, it is not worth thinking about. When that person does not move, he is like a gentle breeze. When he moves, he is like a violent storm. I was fortunate enough to experience it once. Thus, I went there to be an advisor. County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang knew that Song Jinggong had deceived many people before. He did not expect that there would be a time when he lost. This made him feel that it was even more interesting. He asked, could it be that Zijin is afraid of that person? Afraid, really afraid. Just once, I did not even have the chance to make a comeback. Later on, that person let me go. Otherwise, I would be in the county jail right now. There is also a person beside that person. When these two people are together, it is like a combination of a zither and a flute. There is no one else who can compare to them. Song Jinggong thought about the young master and cuckoo on Zhuangzi. A trace of a smile appeared on his face. There was even a trace of pride. If that is the case, then Zijin should go back first. I will do it as soon as possible. Qing Lingxiang saw that Song Jinggong had described the two people as if they were gods. He did not believe him at all. He could use this matter to ask. He already had a thought in his mind. Zhou Shihu would not lack that bit of money. He definitely had a bigger plan. He wanted to see what the person on Zhuangzi would do. Song Jinggong agreed and went back to wait. Qing Lingxiang quickly ordered someone to find Zhou Shihu and ask him face to face. Zhou Shihu did not evade and directly said what he wanted. He wanted to get the recipe for the vegetable oil. He had eaten that oil before. These days, he had been eating vegetable oil every meal. The taste was better than other oils. Even if it was used to light a lamp, the smoke would be small. Seeing that this was his intention, Qing Lingxiang did not say much. He told someone to tell Song Jinggong about this matter. As for what to do, it would depend on the person Song Jinggong mentioned. Once Song Jinggong received the news, he hired a carriage and rushed back. When he entered the courtyard, he did not even drink his saliva. He just looked at the young master and waited. Just as he thought, when the young master and young lady heard this news, they were not worried at all. Not only were they not worried, but they also smiled. Young master, do you have a countermeasure? Song Jinggong saw that the young master and young lady were not worried, so he also relaxed. Xiao Bao, you guessed right again. This is good. We will eat candied haws during the new year. Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao with a smile. Zhang Xiaobao also pretended to be reserved and nodded. And let Pomegranate take out the thing and give it to Zijin. Zijin, I will tell you what to do. After letting Pomegranate take out the thing and give it to Song Jingong, Zhang Xiaobao said to Song Jingong. Song Jingong's eyes lit up and he nodded. Young master, don't worry. I will definitely do it well. So it is like this. There is no time to lose. I will leave now. Song Jingong promised and took the clear soup that Pomegranate prepared for him. He turned around and left. He let the carriage drive and rushed to Sanshui County. When Song Jingong arrived, it was already evening. This time, Song Jingong still did not rest and came to the yamen. When he saw the county magistrate, he asked, Sir, I am back. Please help me be the middleman. It is dinner time and I want to invite Zhou Shihu to have dinner at Waterview Restaurant. Qing Lingxiang saw Song Jingong's happy expression and was shocked. Could it be that there was really a solution? According to the time that Song Jingong took to come and go, he had just returned and someone had already thought of a solution. How was this possible? Zijin, you have an idea. The expert over there heard your words and thought of a solution in a short time. Qing Lingxiang asked expectantly. No. As soon as I entered the courtyard and finished explaining the matter, that person gave me the things that he had prepared beforehand and gave me a few instructions. I didn't dare to delay and came back immediately. They seemed to have known about it for a long time. Song Jingong was so excited that his whole body trembled when he thought of the situation when he returned. The young master was really too scary. Today, he finally saw what it meant to have a perfect plan. Zhuge Xing was just like that. Qing Lingxiang was also shocked. It seemed that there was really an expert in Zhuangzi. He did not hesitate and sent someone to invite Zhou Shihu while he brought Song Jingong to Waterview Restaurant. They did not even take the carriage and asked as they walked. Zijin, can you tell me what idea that person came up with? I am very curious. Song Jingong did not say it directly this time. He smiled apologetically. Sir, please forgive me for not being able to tell you now. When Zhou Shihu arrives, everything will naturally become clear. Oh. In that case, let's wait for a while. I heard that the dishes in Waterview Restaurant were also prepared by your Zhuangzi. What does it have to do with that expert? Seeing that Song Jingong did not say anything, Qing Lingxiang did not force him. He would find out later anyway. Thinking of the new dishes in Waterview Restaurant, he casually asked. Sir, your eyes are indeed as sharp as a torch. The vegetable oil, chili sauce, and those dishes were all made by that person. Song Jingong and the county magistrate arrived at Waterview Restaurant while talking. Zhou Shihu had already arrived and asked for a single room. When he saw Song Jingong, he said, What? Young Master Song, have you thought it through? Chapter 51. Song Jingong did not pay attention to Zhou Shihu at all. Instead, he respectfully said to County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang, Sir, please take a seat. After waiting for Qing Lingxiang to nod and sit down with a smile, Song Jingong then looked at Zhou Shihu, who was standing there with a face full of arrogance. Young Master Zhou, this way please. Zijin is very honored to have the county magistrate accompany me today. Waiter, bring up your restaurant's signature dish. County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang felt very comfortable at this moment. Zhou Shihu's attitude just now was as if he did not see him, which made him feel ashamed. He thought to himself that this Zhou Shihu was really unreasonable. So what if your uncle is a rank 6? If I really decide your case, do you think your uncle will dare to reverse the case? Song Jingong was not bad. He knew who was the boss and gave money happily. He must take care of him in the future. Zhou Shihu also realized that he was too anxious just now and forgot to greet people. His uncle had told him more than once to be respectful in front of the county magistrate. It was all because of this oil seller Song Jinggong. If it were not for him, how could he forget to talk to the county magistrate first? Thinking of this, he looked at Song Jinggong more and more angrily. After pouring tea for the county magistrate, he impatiently asked Song Jinggong, "Young Master Song, you know what I want, right? Zhou Shihu, if you still talk to me like this, I will not let you get anything." Song Jinggong's face darkened at this time. You dare to call me by my name and talk to me like this? Don't forget that there is still a patient who ate your oil lying on the bed. Zhou Shihu suddenly stood up. In Sanshui County, he had never seen anyone who dared to talk to him like this. Song Jinggong smiled at Wei Wei. He calmly took out a piece of paper and casually threw it in front of Zhou Shihu. Zhou Shihu was dumbfounded. He did not recognize a single word written on the paper. He did not learn when he was young and did not even memorize the 1,000-character classic. "Uncle Cheng, help me take a look." Zhou Shihu had no choice but to hand the paper to County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang. Qing Lingxiang took the paper and slowly read, "I am the person in charge of selling the oil. Because the person who pretended to be poisoned by the oil had a grudge against me, he pretended to be sick and framed me. I knew that things were not going well and I was afraid of being retaliated against, so I had to leave Sanshui County and find another place to survive. Look, Zhou Shihu, the worker I hired at the last minute has a grudge with your person who pretended to be sick. Now, he has been scared away. You said that your brother got sick from eating too much oil, so why didn't your brother's family report it to the authorities?" Song Jinggong waited for the county magistrate to finish reading before he slowly spoke. "Maybe your partner has a grudge against my brother, so he deliberately poisoned him." Zhou Shihu did not expect Song Jinggong to make such a false accusation, so he could only choose to reason. "Well, it's possible. Then let your brother report it to the authorities and let the authorities issue an arrest warrant. That worker was hired at the last minute, so I don't know his background. My oil has already been sold to half of the restaurants and inns in Sanshui County, as well as a few noble people's residences. Zhou Shihu, you continue to find people to pretend to be sick. I will take away all the oil tonight. If those restaurants ask, I will tell them the truth. Sanshui County's Zhou Shihu cannot be offended. I will sell the oil to other provinces. I don't know if your uncle who assists the provincial governor can still control me." Song Jinggong did not even look at Zhou Shihu. He looked at the autumn scenery outside the window and threatened him indirectly. Zhou Shihu was really scared. Not only was he scared, but County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang was also scared. He thought that when the time came, there would be so many restaurants in Sanshui County, plus those noble people who were used to eating oil. If they really questioned him, it would be quite troublesome. Zhou Shihu found that he could not use his strength. He could not report to the authorities and issue an arrest warrant. Even if he did, it would be useless. Song Jinggong had removed himself from the situation. At most, he could be considered to be a bad judge of character. If he really sold the oil to other places, how much tax would the county collect? How is it, Zhou Shihu? Have you thought about it? Song Jinggong asked. County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang felt that the person behind Song Jinggong was indeed powerful. With this, Song Jinggong would be fine. He had taken the money, so no matter what, he had to help exonerate himself. From the ink on the paper, it seemed that it had been written long ago. But now was not the time to talk about this. He still had to be a mediator, so it was better to talk about something else. Shihu, it's not that I want to scold you as an uncle. You haven't even figured out whether or not you were poisoned, and you went to find trouble with Zijin. This is not good. If it was someone else, they might have reported you to the yamen. At that time, as an uncle, it would be difficult for me to say anything. Zhou Shihu was worried about the consequences if this matter was known by his uncle. Seeing that the county magistrate was willing to help, he did not dare to find trouble. He was afraid that the county magistrate, who had already retired, would find trouble with him if they could not eat the oil. If it was not because the oil was delicious, why would he come up with such a plan? At this time, the only thing he could do was to not let Song Jinggong sell the oil elsewhere. He forced a smile and said, "Brother Zijin, I'm really sorry. It's all my fault that I was cheated. I was thinking, so many people eat oil together, why was only one person sick?" After Zijin explained it, I understood. Please forgive me, Brother Zijin. Well said, well said. From this matter, I can see that Brother Zhou is also a person who values loyalty. Let's forget about the past. I see that Brother Zhou has an imposing appearance. You are definitely not an ordinary person. I have a prescription that can change the color of the sugar. If Brother Zhou is interested, I am willing to work with Brother Zhou. Song Jinggong saw that the other party had given in. According to the young master's instructions, it was time to give benefits. As he spoke, he took out an oil paper bag from his sleeve, opened it gently and put it on the table. This is sugar. Zhou Shihu looked at the white thing in the paper. He looked at the county magistrate and asked with uncertainty. He stuck out a finger and put it in his mouth. He opened his eyes and said, "It's sweet. It's really sugar. How did you make it like this?" Brother Zhou is right. This is sugar. This kind of sugar has its own merits compared to the kind that I used to eat. In terms of taste, this kind of sugar is better. If you want to use it as medicine, you need to use the original kind. I wonder if Brother Zhou is willing to do this business. Song Jinggong asked with a smile on his face. I am willing, of course I am willing. This is a good business. That prescription, I did some. What is it? Brother Zijin is still willing to do business with me. Zhou Shihu obviously knew how much profit he could make by selling this thing. Just as he was about to agree, he remembered that he had to extort Song Jinggong. At this time, would Song Jinggong still do business with him? He regretted it in his heart. Brother Zhou is not right. Brother Zhou also did not know about that matter. You were deceived. I see that Brother Zhou is so righteous. In the future, you will definitely do great things. When that time comes, it will be too late for me to curry favor with you. How can I reject Brother Zhou's good intentions? Song Jinggong said according to the young master's instructions. Zhou Shihu was in a state of excitement. County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang was sweating profusely. This was the true means of that person. The suppression at the beginning was just a part of it. He was able to directly attract the attention of a rank 6 official. Even a rank 7 county magistrate like him was used. What a good plan. The most frightening thing was not this. It was that that person already knew that it would be like this. Could it be that when he was selling vegetable oil, he already planned to do this? Otherwise, why didn't he set up a shop? Song Jinggong was in charge of 2 shops here. 100 taels of silver was given away so easily. Why would he lack the money to buy a shop? The smaller the shop, the easier it was to be bullied. What Qing Lingxiang wanted the most was to see the person behind Song Jinggong. He finally saw with his own eyes what was called strategizing and winning a battle from 1,000 miles away. Moreover, so many things were thought of by that person. That person must be a reclusive old man. When he had nothing to do, he would sit under a tree and sip the tea in his hands. His eyes would look into the distance, unmoving like a mountain, but moving like thunder. Song Jinggong was also thinking about the young master's words. When the time came to show the last item, that person surnamed Zhou would look silly and the county magistrate would be restless. Unexpectedly, the young master had predicted all of this. Zhou Shihu was indeed heartless. He did not think so much. He thought about how he would use this candy to earn big money in the future and get his parents to praise him. Especially his uncle's approval. He felt his whole body was full of energy. He grabbed some more candy and stuffed it into his mouth. Zijin, you tell me, how should we distribute the money? Brother Zhou, you can divide it however you want. Even if you want to monopolize it, I will also give the recipe to you. Zhou Shihu asked quickly and Song Jinggong answered quickly too. Zhou Shihu took 2 deep breaths. Just as he was about to speak, the county magistrate Qing Lingxiang suddenly interrupted. Shihu, why are you not thanking Zijin? The money from this candy will definitely not be little. Why don't we split it 50-50? If you can't decide, then ask your uncle. Qing Lingxiang understood Zhou Shihu. He really dared to take the recipe for free and earn all the money himself. If he really did that, he could imagine the consequences. The person behind Song Jinggong would be disappointed and give up on this business. Moreover, he, the county magistrate, was here. They might give up on him too. Yes, give up. Although he was the county magistrate, he was also afraid of being given up by that kind of person. With that kind of person, he could ask for help. If he gave up, who would he ask for help? Song Jinggong laughed. He felt that the biggest decision in his life was to cross that bridge, even if he regretted it. He really did not know what words to use to evaluate the young master. The young master said that even if the person surnamed Zhou did not know the depth of the situation, the county magistrate would speak out to help him. What else could he ask for in life if he followed such a calculative person? Why is Zijin laughing? Qing Lingxiang wondered. My family's young, that person said that you will definitely do so. At this moment, Song Jinggong seemed to have changed from the inside out. His attitude was reserved and his body was straight. That kind of arrogance had penetrated from his appearance to his bones. Zhou Shihu had no time to think about what they were talking about. He was thinking about how he would become rich in the future. He said to the county magistrate Qing Lingxiang, "Uncle is right. I will go back now and write to my uncle." After saying that, he turned his head and said, "Brother Zijin, I will go back first today. Tomorrow, I will invite you to the Byway Pavilion to drink." After Zhou Shihu left, the dishes were served one after another. Song Jinggong picked up his chopsticks and said, "Sir, since the dishes are here, then eat. If you can't finish them, I will put them in a box and take them away." The person in Zhuangzi hates to order a bunch of dishes and not eat them. Chapter 52. If you want to try to get on the list, you are in urgent need of bookmarks and recommendations. Today, there are 2 more chapters. If you are on the list, as long as you are on the list, you will get 1 more day. 4 chapters a day, 3,000 words a day. If you are in the top 10, you will get 5 chapters a day. Brothers and sisters, it is not easy for me either. Please understand me and help me. Thank you. At night, it was drizzling. There was a charcoal stove in the room. Pomegranate and the servant girl of the Jiang Wang clan next door took turns to keep watch. They sat on a comfortable chair made by Wang Wan and fell asleep. "Xiao Bao, are you asleep? The charcoal is burning. You are in the room." Wang Wan touched Zhang Xiao Bao with her finger. "Even if I was asleep, you woke me up. I am always afraid of being caught, so I can't sleep well." "Don't be afraid, the door is open. The possibility of carbon monoxide poisoning is very low. Go to sleep." Zhang Xiaobao and Weiwei turned around and glanced at the door. "But I am still cold. There is no air conditioning, no heating, and no geothermal heat in the room." I feel that it is difficult to breathe. Wang Wan said again. It is normal. I feel the same. Children's bodies are very sensitive. Usually, children of our age will cry at this time. Only when we are in the arms of adults will we feel safe. The loss of body heat will cause the blood circulation to slow down and insufficient blood supply. The nerves in the brain will stimulate the heart, and the pressure will be too great. This happened when you were training before, but adults are stronger than children. I was the same when I was training in the mountains. Sometimes I felt like crying. Tomorrow, I will ask them to come over and set up the Kong. Then it will be better. Zhang Xiaobao had learned a lot, so of course he knew what the current situation was. The main thing was that he and Wang Wan would not cry. Although he understood, he also felt uncomfortable. He used self-hypnosis to fall asleep, but he was woken up by Wang Wan again. I don't care. I don't want to use self-hypnosis. My body will feel uncomfortable if I sleep. Hurry up and think of a solution. I feel empty and helpless now. The psychological pressure is too great. Even if I can bear it, it is not good for my body's growth. Naturally, Wang Wan had experienced this before, but what she needed now was physical relaxation of her body, not mental coercion. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it and agreed. He and Wang Wan had tough nerves, but they couldn't guarantee that their bodies would rest properly. This kind of physical fatigue training was still too early. Actually, it's very simple. It's just sleeping beside your mother. That way, you'll feel warm and at ease. It has nothing to do with your nervous system. It's your body's muscle control system that resonates with your mother's body. The most obvious manifestation is the pulse. I don't know if my mother has any effect on you. At least I didn't have a problem. As long as I fell asleep, my mother's heartbeat and metabolism would subconsciously synchronize with my heartbeat and metabolism. This was not to say that our heartbeats were the same, but it was some kind of natural adjustment. During this process, even if the child suddenly felt scared, they would take the initiative to seek the mother's embrace. And when the mother encountered danger in the dream, she could still maintain a posture of protecting the child. To give a simple example, when you were having a hard time holding in your pee while sleeping, you would find that the toilet in your dream was either particularly dirty, blocked, or accidentally interrupted when you wanted to go to the toilet until you woke up from your pee. When a mother hugs her child to sleep, there will be the same kind of non-subjective consciousness. Why don't you lie beside my mother for a while? It might have some effect. Zhang Xiaobao said a lot and finally suggested that Wang Wan go to another room. Wang Wan shook her head. I finally understand why some mothers are still so young after giving birth, while others age quickly. The young ones usually don't raise their children by their side and have other people take care of them. As for those who age faster, they usually keep their children by their side. They always protect their children under both subjective and non-subjective subconscious. Both their body and mind are stressed at the same time, resulting in long-term fatigue. I'm not going. Quickly think of a way. You're an international swindler. Don't ruin your reputation. You are too unreasonable. I can't tell whether you mean it in a positive or negative way. Fine, I'll say, don't kick me. Even if you kick me down, you won't be able to sleep. Put the mat against the wall. Lean against the wall of my mother's room. There are 2 doors here. You can lean against the wall, and I will be on your side. Zhang Xiaobao felt that his brain cells were dying faster than when he was swindling people. At least he didn't need to be kicked when he was swindling people. Wang Wan followed Zhang Xiaobao's suggestion and woke Pomegranate up. She helped to push the mat to the designated position and lay down again. Wang Wan smiled. Awesome, Comrade Zhang Xiaobao. No wonder you can deceive so many people. Not to mention other things, you have a good grasp of human nature. Tell me, how many ignorant girls have you deceived before? Push them to the corner. You feel that you can sleep well, right? There is a wall over there, and there are people outside the wall. I am here. You feel safe, right? It's wrong to burn the bridge after crossing the river, kill the donkey when it has outlived its usefulness, cook the dog when it has outlived its usefulness, and put away the bough when the birds are gone. Why would I deceive girls? I have been working hard to earn money. You only think about yourself. Look at Pomegranate. Don't you feel pity for her? Zhang Xiaobao regretted it. What the hell was this? A woman's theory was self-contained and had nothing to do with age. Wang Wan didn't continue to pester him. Looking at Pomegranate, who was sitting on the chair, she felt uncomfortable in her heart, even though Pomegranate had been eating 3 meals and 1 supper these days. I've decided. We'll find a few more people from the farmstead. We'll work 3 shifts a day, and each person will work 8 hours. The money will come from our shared treasury. Exploitation is not the goal. What's fundamental is to generate more benefits. Wang Wan did as she said. The next morning, she asked people to find a few clever maids from Zhuangzi. These people's loyalty could be trusted. During the day, Pomegranate would still be the one to look after the children. At night, Pomegranate would lie down to sleep. 2 maids would be arranged in the room outside. These 2 maids could talk softly and light an oil lamp that would not go out for the whole night. They only needed to walk around the room with light footsteps every hour. There were also a few more people keeping watch at night in other parts of the courtyard. They received the same treatment, except that there were men in some places. They could drink as much tea as they wanted and eat snacks to make Zhuangzi lively at night. After Jiang Wang clan found out about her daughter-in-law's arrangement, she couldn't understand why she would do this. She would have to spend a lot of money, but since she was using her own money to pay for it, Jiang Wang clan didn't want to interfere. She just let the little girl do what she wanted. In the end, after sleeping for a day, when the people in Zhuangzi woke up in the morning, they found that they had slept very well last night. Everyone was more energetic than before. This surprised Jiang Wang clan. She asked the housekeeper and found out the reason. The people in the courtyard didn't sleep like them. They didn't have someone to wait on them. Sometimes, they had to worry about things happening at night. Usually, they didn't have a good sleep. Before they went to sleep last night, the servants knew about the new arrangement. They knew that there would always be people around them and they could be woken up if something happened. They didn't have to worry anymore. Madam, the young master and young lady are indeed extraordinary. My 6-year-old daughter, who used to have nightmares every day, didn't wake up last night. When she woke up this morning, she told me that she wasn't afraid. She knew that there was always someone protecting her. Housekeeper Zhang didn't expect that such a simple arrangement by Cuckoo would have such great benefits. He praised her from the side. Jiang Wang clan was full of smiles. Yes, housekeeper, go do your work. I'll ask master to take a look at the children. Xiao Bao, think quickly. What should we do? Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao sat together after waking up in the morning. In front of them was a piece of white sugar. The 2 of them were preparing to come up with a new type of sugar, but they couldn't think of a way. They could only stare at each other. I think that we should add water and boil it. When the sugar doesn't dissolve, we can just dry it up and make it into a piece. Zhang Xiaobao frowned. He couldn't think of a good idea. Even he himself wasn't sure of what to say. Wang Wan was about to speak when she and Zhang Xiaobao raised their heads at the same time. They saw Jiang Wang clan and Zhang Xiaobao's father approaching together. The 2 of them were quite alert. When they saw that they were coming, they quickly stood up and greeted them. Their obedient and sensible appearance made people like them even more. "My son, what are you doing?" "Rock sugar." Zhang Xiaobao's father came to the side of the white sugar and asked with a smile. "Ah, father, there's rock sugar. Doesn't that mean that there's also white sugar?" "Oh no, my sugar won't be able to make money." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were shocked at the same time. The two of them hadn't eaten any rock sugar and thought that there wasn't any. Zhang Xiaobao's father seemed to know what his son and future daughter-in-law were thinking. He nodded with a smile and then shook his head. "My son, don't worry. It's not easy to make white sugar and rock sugar. The price is also high. Furthermore, it's not as delicate as my son's sugar. The sugar cane used to make 1 gene of white sugar can be used to make several times more brown sugar. You just need to put the sugar directly into the pot." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan nodded vigorously. It seems that bookworms can be quite smart sometimes. Why didn't they think of such a simple method? Zhang Wang Clan and Zhang Xiaobao's father stayed with the child for an hour before leaving. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were no longer in the mood to make sugar. They planned to leave it to Mr. Zhou to figure out. The training started again. Another autumn rain fell, and the weather was colder than usual. In Zhangjie Zhuangzi's main hall, Confucius said that if one is rich, one can ask for it. "Although I am the one who holds the whip, I am also the one who holds it. If I can't ask for it, I will follow what I like." Confucius said that poems, books, and ceremonies are all elegant. "My son, stop first." Zhang Xiaobao was reciting the things he had learned these days when Zhang Xiaobao's father suddenly stopped him. "My son, do you still remember the elegant words that I taught you? Poems, books, and ceremonies are all elegant." Zhang Xiaobao's father was not satisfied with his son only knowing how to recite. "I know. Elegant words are the official language of the Zhou dynasty. Confucius usually uses the Lu Di language. When he reads poems, books, and ceremonies, he uses the official language of the Zhou dynasty." Zhang Xiaobao had been studying very hard these days. What are poems, books, and ceremonies? Zhang Xiaobao's father jumped from one question to another. It was not the same topic as the Analects of Confucius just now. Poems, books, and ceremonies are contained in the 6 classics. The 6 classics: Book of Songs, Book of Ministers, Ritual, Music, Zhou-yi, Spring and Autumn. This time, Zhang Xiaobao did not wait for his father to ask and directly said the 6 classics. The people sitting in the hall were the elders of the Zhang family and Wang family. Seeing that Zhang Xiaobao could answer so quickly, they all nodded in satisfaction. At this time, Father Wang also became interested. He had not studied like Zhang Xiaobao's father, so he casually asked Wang Wan, "Cuckoo, do you know why so many people study the 6 classics?" This time, everyone was stunned, especially Father Zhang. He had not taught them yet. Wang Wan did not have time to blame her father for asking blindly. After thinking for a while, she answered, "Rich people don't need to buy fertile land. There are thousands of grains in books. There is no need to build a sorghum. There is a house of gold in books. If a man wants to live his life, he will diligently study the 6 classics in front of the window." Chapter 53. With Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's answers, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's families began to value the 2 children more and more. Especially after Zhuangzi learned from Zhangjie Zhuangzi and hired a few more people, he found that the money paid was not much, but the people under him worked harder than before. In the afternoon, the temperature rose. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan took pomegranate to the field that had been harvested. At this time, the field was full of short stubble, whether it was rice, wheat, or corn. "Xiaobao, can we plant some vegetables in winter? Wang Wan picked up a leaf that was blown by the wind and felt that it was a waste to leave the field empty for winter. Zhang Xiaobao pursed his lips and looked at the field. After a while, he shook his head and said helplessly, "We can't plant vegetables in these fields. I don't know how much a caddy of cucumbers in winter costs." "Pomegranate, how much are cucumbers in winter?" Wang Wan turned her head and asked Pomegranate, who was not far away. "Where are the cucumbers?" "In 2 days, the stored cucumbers need to be eaten, otherwise they will go bad. If you want to eat cucumbers, you can dry them in the shade and soak them in water to eat. You can do the same for other vegetables." Pomegranate did not know what the two little guys were thinking. They were expecting to buy cucumbers in winter. "If there are cucumbers that have just been picked, how much are you going to pay for them?" Zhang Xiaobao followed and asked. In reply to the little Gongzi, "I won't buy them. Even if there are, I can't afford them." Pomegranate had nothing to do, so she followed and said something impossible. Wang Wan did not think so. If Zhang Xiaobao did not have a solution, he would not ask. After thinking for a while, she found that she could not make a greenhouse, so she touched Zhang Xiaobao with her hand and asked, "How do you want to plant cucumbers?" "Erniu is free. Let him go to Guzhuang to collect firewood, which is rice, wheat, and corn stalks. These things should be very cheap. 1 copper coin can buy a few bundles. We can plant cucumbers. Let's do the preparation work today and do it tomorrow." Zhang Xiaobao began to plan things. Wang Wan still did not understand how to plant cucumbers. Before she asked, Zhang Xiaobao explained to her, "In fact, this is a scam. My subordinates helped me think of it. I didn't think it would work, so I didn't use this method. This method can grow vegetables in winter in the north without any transparent materials. In theory, it is feasible, but in the actual process, it is not as good as transporting from other summer countries. The investment is big, the harvest is small, and the income will not make ends meet. Some of the materials here are cheap, and the labor cost is not included. Plus, there are no cucumbers in winter, so we should be able to make money. Tomorrow, follow me." Wang Wan saw that Zhang Xiaobao still did not explain the matter clearly, so she was not in a hurry to ask. She just wanted to see how he was going to prepare for today. Since there was something to do, the three of them did not stay outside for long. They turned back and Zhang Xiaobao began to arrange. He chose a piece of land that was 40 meters by 40 meters in the back. He and Wang Wan measured the rough data together. Every 5 meters by 5 meters, they dug a square trench that was 1.5 meters deep outside. Then, they built a wall that was more than 20 square meters above the trench. The wall was 2 meters high, and there were holes near the top of the wall. The holes were as thick as a child's arm, and they were spaced 1 meter apart. Zhuangzi was not busy now. There were many people, and they could save some of their own food. They all came to help. After the holes on the wall were finished, they made a hole under each of the outer walls, which was slightly bigger. At night, even if they were done, the holes were not dry. Ernie got some firewood and started to roast the wall at night. He connected a stove from the hole below and put the firewood in the stove. The heat moved along the space between the two walls to other places. That night, there were many people making the fire, so it was quite lively. The children in Zhuangzi were so excited that they did not go to sleep and wandered back and forth. Early the next morning, Zhang Xiaobao ordered people to buy the mats. The cheapest ones could be made of straw or reeds. Bamboo was not necessary as it was a bit expensive. He bought countless bamboo poles that were as thick as a child's arm. They were at least 2.5 meters long, which was about 6 feet. Although they were not worth much, they bought everything and spent 100 bolts of silk, which was 20 taels of silver. Zhang Xiaobao, who was watching from the side, felt very distressed. Little young master has been busy these days. It is not easy for him to earn some money. Every time he works, he does not have 20 taels of silver. He only relies on chili sauce and vegetable oil. He even used the money he borrowed 2 days ago. He even used the money he earned from selling carrots. 2 zhuangzi and the money he earned, 3,900 taels of silver have been exchanged for food. This includes young Master Song's share. The chicks have grown a lot, but they are not allowed to be sold. They can only lay eggs next year. After handing in the food to the higher-ups, there is no money left in zhuangzi. Now, the zhuangzi's expenses are all supported by little young master's daily income from selling oil and chili sauce. Madam, why don't you persuade little young master? Steward Zhang muttered to Jiang Wang clan, who was also watching the scene. 20 taels of silver, it was enough to cover the courtyard's expenses for a month. Steward Zhang, Xiao Bao wants to do it, and he is using his own money. Don't worry about other people. Xiao Bao has his own plans. Jiang Wang clan did not care at all. She still had 100 strings of money at home. Looking at the small mountain of food, she was not worried at all. Moreover, the vegetable oil was coming in every day. After deducting the 2 zhuangzi's expenses, there was still money left. At night, a few people were left to light the fire to watch over the place. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao also came to take a look. Xiaobao, you want to plant cucumbers in the middle of the bamboo. When the weather is cold, you can light the fire. During the day, you can open the shed and open the bamboo to maintain the temperature inside. When the 2 bamboo poles are put together, it will be just right for the ends of the bamboo poles. At night, you can cover it with a mat. Wang Wan understood. No wonder Zhang Xiaobao said that it was a scammer. If it was in the past, these things would cost a lot of money. It was even more expensive than building a shed. Cucumbers could be found elsewhere and could not be sold for much. How much would it cost to transport them from the south to the north? It is easy to maintain the moisture. You can just cover the mat with water. The mat will consume more water. Fortunately, it is cheap. During winter, the most important thing to consider is the snow. If there is a heavy snowfall, someone will have to get up at night to sweep the ground. The ground is afraid of the cold, so you have to dig a trench. Every few days, you will use the fire to dry the cucumbers. Under this kind of sun, the cucumbers grow slowly. Now, according to the calculation here, in the middle of September, there will be 2.5 months of Chinese New Year. At that time, you can make a lot of money. When you have a good year, you have to keep it a secret during the artificial pollination. These words slowly came out of Zhang Xiaobao's mouth. Wang Wan looked at his calm expression and felt that this was the demeanor that the international scammer should have. He was like a parent, leading his subordinates and defeating one enemy after another. His firm and deep appearance made his subordinates always full of confidence and hope. I didn't expect that something that was originally a scam would actually be able to make money here. When the time comes, eating a cucumber would be more expensive than eating a piece of meat. Let's go. Tomorrow morning, young Master Song will be back to deliver the money he earned from collaborating with Zhou Shihu to sell candy. The houses of both our villages need to be repaired, and we still need to get up. We are counting on this money. Wang Wan pulled Zhang Xiaobao's hand and turned to walk towards their residence. Under the light of the fire, the 2 small figures grew longer and longer. The next morning, Song Jinggong rushed back. He first took out the money from the oil sales yesterday. It was not much, only about 900 copper coins, which was less than 1 tael of silver. It was not light to carry, mainly because many people used other things to exchange for it. According to Zhang Xiaobao's instructions, those things that could be preserved were to be sold together. Those that could not be preserved were basically food. For example, 3 caddies of watery spinach were exchanged for 1 caddy of tofu. The spinach was directly taken to the small restaurant where it was bought. At the end of the month, it would be accounted for separately. Little young master, this is the money that Zhou Shihu gave me. I followed your instructions and asked for 30% of the money, and 50% of the money. That Zhou Shihu was overjoyed. This is 120 taels of silver. Carrying it on my back and adding the copper coins, it almost crushed me to death. Song Jinggong put the bag on his back in front of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He opened the knot, revealing the gray-white silver inside. There were 12 ingots, and each ingot was 10 taels of silver. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. This money was enough. Song Jinggong saw that the little young master did not have a surprised expression, so he did not want to be so excited. He wanted the little young master to guess, so he asked, "Little young master, why don't you guess how you got 100 taels of silver in such a short time? Is there a need to guess?" Zhou Shihu was spoiled since he was young. He is not even 20 years old and can be considered a child. Like me, he wanted to make his family happy. As a result, he used many methods to transport a large amount of brown sugar to make white sugar, and then used his connections to sell it. I reckon that any place that sells sugar in this province will have his white sugar. The money you sent is only the first, and the next money will come soon. Last night, I asked Erniu to go out of this province to buy brown sugar. Before the new year, there will be a big increase. The money that should be earned still needs to be earned. Zhang Xiaobao touched the silver with his hand. While feeling the coolness of the silver, he spoke. "Little young master, I will go back first. I will come back tomorrow afternoon and send the second money here." After listening to Zhang Xiaobao's words, the last bit of excitement on Song Jinggong's face disappeared. He stood up, threw down a sentence, and left listlessly. He suddenly felt that it was meaningless for him to constantly lie to others. In front of the little young master, he was like a child who had just learned to walk. Whenever he asked a question that he thought was difficult, the little young master would always play it down. He always had a cute smile on his face, but after looking at him for a long time, he felt cold from the inside out. "Xiao Bao, you scared him." Wang Wan, of course, knew how Song Jinggong felt. It was just like when she saw Zhang Xiaobao's information. When facing this kind of genius that you had to admit, you would feel powerless. I didn't scare him. I was giving him confidence. He is a conceited person. He thinks that he is smarter than others. If I firmly suppress him, he will think it through. He is already very powerful, and there is an even more powerful person behind him. Then, what is there to be afraid of when he does things? Then, he will use all his skills and not think of a way out. This will give him confidence. This is the position that he should be in. Zhang Xiaobao gave Wang Wan an analysis of the motivation theory of human nature and talents. Chapter 54. When the first heavy snow fell on the ground, the surrounding scenery changed. Whether it was the bare tree branches or the still green pine and cypress trees, they all stood there with strips or patches of white. The ducks and geese didn't go to the pond in the morning. It wasn't until noon that they ran to places with water. They left messy footprints on the snow. Xiao Hong followed behind them with a bamboo pole in her hand. The guys in front seemed to be her subordinates. Cherries led a male servant on Zhuangzi to carry chicken feed and called out to the chickens hiding in the nest. In an instant, more than 1,900 hens and 100 roosters flapped their wings and ran out one after another. Ernie checked the brown sugar that was piled up like sand in the storeroom. He turned around and locked the door. Then, he helped Pomegranate take care of the earthworms. He lifted the things that were piled up messily on top of the earthworms to take a look. He didn't want these things to smoke. Then, he piled the surrounding snow together. Once he was done, he could go find the young master. Pomegranate followed Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to the back to see if any of the houses had been knocked down. The cucumbers in the ground had already started to grow. She would be distressed if one of them died. When they arrived at the place, what entered their eyes was a yellowish-brown color. There was no white snow at all. The villagers didn't need anyone to greet them. They took the initiative to help clean up the snow. The small houses were all standing there in good condition. The snow that fell from the curtains on the houses was also cleaned up. When the villagers saw that the young master and cuckoo had arrived, they all came over to greet them with sincere and respectful smiles on their faces. This had nothing to do with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's identity. "Uncle Wang, is there snow leaking from your house? Is it still warm in the house?" Wang Wan asked softly when a person greeted her. "To answer your question, it's warm. It's really too warm. The house doesn't leak snow either. It's very sturdy. It's all thanks to Zhuangzi who paid for the house and the Kong. Otherwise, we'd be tired again this year. This old man has never seen such a good master." When Uncle Wang talked about his family, his eyes narrowed so much that they almost couldn't be seen. As he spoke, he wanted to pull his son to kneel down and kowtow. Naturally, Pomegranate supported him. That's good. The new year is coming in less than a month. How's the preparation at home? This new year, everyone in Zhuangzi will be given 2 caddies of pork, 1 caddy of vegetable oil, and 6 feet of cloth, so that the villagers can have a good new year. Zhang Xiaobao liked the feeling of being a family and said with a smile, "Young master, we can't accept so many gifts." Uncle Wang didn't know what to say. "I'm buying people's hearts. In the future, there will be some things in Zhuangzi that outsiders can't know about. I'm buying people's hearts to help me keep it a secret." Zhang Xiaobao told the truth. "Little Gongzi, not to mention the human heart, this old man's life is yours. Whatever little Gongzi wants to do, this old man will guard it for you. If anyone wants to break it, this old man will fight with his life." Uncle Wang said excitedly, and the others around him also echoed. Everyone knew that people's hearts were bought. "If you were good to me, I'll be good to you." Except for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang's families in Zhuangzi, no other master could buy people's hearts like this. Not only did they build houses and Kong beds, but they also gave people meat for every meal and warm wine to warm their bodies. Now that the new year was coming, they gave people gifts again. People's hearts were made of meat. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at Wang Wan. The two of them felt the warmth together. Wang Wan's lips moved on Weiwei. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. Wang Wan then said, "Everyone, there are still some chickens left this year. Next year, cherries will hatch more chicks. If you want to raise them, you can come and get them. When the eggs are laid, we'll take them from Zhuangzi. That way, you'll have more money to spend." As soon as these words were spoken, all the villagers became happy. Some even cheered to express the joy in their hearts. The snow did not seem to be that cold anymore. Only a few children who came from Guzhuang didn't feel happy at all. They weren't people from Zhang Xiaobao and Wang's families. They didn't know about other things, but they knew about the gifts given during the new year. Each person was given 2 caddies of meat. That meant that their family would get a lot of food. They wanted to make dumplings and pies. There was also vegetable oil. They could fry a lot of food. There was enough cloth to make a new set of clothes. When comparing the two, the children were a little resentful of their parents. Why didn't they come to Zhuangzi and Wang's families? When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan saw that there were no problems, they were relieved. They said a few words of encouragement and left under the respectful gazes of the crowd. Why are you always telling the truth? Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao on the way back. I wanted to talk to them about theory. I also wanted to recite the Analects of Confucius or the 1,000-character classic. Would they understand? The villagers need very simple things. They need to eat well, wear warm clothes, and have a stable residence. They need to show off in front of other villagers. This is the greatest need of spiritual and material civilization. That's right. They are all kind people. If you treat them well, they will remember it for the rest of their lives. I've decided. When it's a little warmer, I'll build a school so that both of us children in Zhuangzi can study. Wang Wan sighed with emotion. Not only us two Zhuangzi, but also the children of other Zhuangzi nearby. They just need to bring some staple food. I'll pay for everything else. Zhang Xiaobao thought even further. Are you sick? Do you have medicine? I'm not going to joke with you. I'll let all the children in Zhuangzi come to study here. My reputation will spread. When there's a disaster next year, I'll send food over for free. Let's see who dares to take my family's land. I'll crush them with the hearts of the people. Even now, I still don't understand what kind of person you are. You're doing so much to earn some money, but in the end, it's all for that piece of land and 100 families' food. Is it worth it? Wang Wan had been trying to figure out Zhang Xiaobao. She wanted to know what was on his mind, but to no avail. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at Wang Wan beside him and smiled. Don't try to guess what men think. Similarly, I've never thought about what women think. Sometimes, we don't even understand ourselves, let alone understand others. To be honest, I really didn't care. Losing and gaining were nothing in front of me. I was talking about money, but I cared a lot. I knew that my parents and grandparents wanted to support this family business. The only thing I could do was to help them. Material gain is separate from spiritual gain. It's like giving money to a beggar on the street. Even if you don't admit it on the surface, you'll subconsciously think of yourself as a good person. The reason why those animals can't beat people is not only because people know how to use tools, but also because people will pity and sympathize with the weak at some point, and then unite with the weak. Don't tell me this. I don't understand. I know that the world is a place where the strong preys on the weak. I'm learning so many things for my family. It's as simple as giving and receiving. Wang Wan felt that her thoughts were following Zhang Xiaobao, and she was very uncomfortable. All right, let's not talk about it. Since your family is gone, let's start a new one here. We don't have a powerful ancestor, so let's become the next generation's powerful ancestor. It's snowing. If a cow freezes to death on Zhuangzi, we'll have cow bone marrow to eat. Zhang Xiaobao really didn't want Wang Wan to obey him. Seeing that Wang Wan reacted quickly, he couldn't help but laugh. When did it freeze to death? Why haven't I heard about it? Wang Wan licked her lips with her tongue. She was indeed greedy. There's a cow in Qin Hao's house in Zhuangzi. It's too old to work. When it snows, it freezes to death. I'm going to give him 6 strings of cash. He went to report it, and then he can eat the cow. That's not right. I remember that his cow is still alive. It passed by the front of the yard in the morning. Besides, it's not that cold today. When it snows, the temperature rises. Wang Wan frowned and asked. She seemed to be thinking about what happened in the morning. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head sadly. Yeah, he was still fine in the morning. Who knew that he would freeze to death in such a short time? If he wasn't frozen to death, then he was scared to death. When the cow saw the heavy snow, she drank a mouthful of cold water and committed suicide. You're so greedy. Do you have to kill other people's cows to eat? Wang Wan finally understood. Of course, she wouldn't ask why the cow could die from drinking water. She knew that Zhang Xiaobao would definitely ask her, if people can die from drinking water, why can't the cow? This matter couldn't be explained clearly. The 6 strings of cash is enough to buy a calf. I'll give you the money you want to buy a half-grown cow. It can be used during the spring plowing. When we go back, I'll make beef tendons for you. It's tender and chewy. It won't spoil your teeth. Zhang Xiaobao chose to bribe. I want to eat tendons with a little spicy taste. Where does the wind blow and snow fall? White clothes decorate the green hills. The Chinese New Year was getting closer and closer. The price of brown sugar doubled. Ernie obeyed the little lord's order and immediately sold it. The 20 taels of silver became 60 taels of silver. Before the money was warmed up, he received the little lord's order to order a large number of flat bamboo baskets or small bamboo boxes. They had to be woven. When the first batch of bamboo baskets was delivered, the cucumbers in the courtyard of the Zhang family's manor were already 3 inches long. It would be best to eat them in 2 or 3 days. After 3 or 5 days, they would be considered big. Pomegranate, here are 3 cucumbers. The 3 of us will take 1 each. Help us peel the cucumbers. Wang Wan picked 3 relatively large cucumbers and handed them to Pomegranate. Pomegranate took them numbly and nodded, cucumbers. Cucumbers in winter. They smell good. How much does one cost? A few days ago, they were still seedlings. Now they are all grown up. Don't worry about the price. Just eat. Hurry up. Xiao Bao and I are waiting. Wang Wan hadn't eaten vegetables for more than a month. Seeing Pomegranate was still in a daze, she had to urge her. The pomegranate finally recovered and began to peel the skin. The 3 of them ate to their heart's content. 5 days later, Song Jinggong put the bamboo box with 6 cucumbers with thorns on it on the table in front of County Magistrate Cheng Lingxiang. Chapter 55. This is a cucumber. It's a cucumber. County Magistrate Cheng Lingxiang looked at the 6 cucumbers in front of him and raised his head to ask Song Jinggong. He did not understand why Song Jinggong rushed over to give him cucumbers. Could it be related to the murder case? Evidence. Sir is indeed amazing. You can recognize that this is a cucumber at a glance. That's right. Sir, try it and see if it's delicious. Song Jinggong thought that the county magistrate was frightened and pointed at the cucumbers for him to taste. I have eaten a lot of this. Zijin, you should take it back and eat it yourself. Cheng Lingxiang carefully looked at the cucumbers and did not find anything special about them. This made him unhappy. Song Jinggong finally understood. It turned out that Cheng Lingxiang did not consider what season it was and was only waiting for him to give him benefits. Cucumbers had always been worthless. Thinking of this, Song Jinggong was not angry and smiled slightly. Sir is right. When this student goes back, I will make some chili sauce and warm some wine. While drinking the cucumbers, I will enjoy the scenery outside. It is really a great enjoyment in life. As she spoke, Song Jinggong prepared to get up. Cheng Lingxiang was also thinking about that scenery, but he kept feeling that there was something wrong with that place. It was only when Song Jinggong said goodbye that he reacted and hurriedly called out, "Hold on, Zijin. Where did you get fresh cucumbers in the middle of winter?" After asking this, Cheng Lingxiang looked at the cucumbers in a different light. The thorns on the cucumbers looked better and the flowers were more beautiful. The more he looked at them, the more he liked them. He even put his head on the cucumbers and gently smelled them. The unique fragrance of the cucumbers entered his nose and was very comfortable. Song Jinggong saw the county magistrate's actions and was not in a hurry to answer. He just looked at them. Qing Lingxiang looked at them for a while and stretched out his hand to touch them. The cucumbers were kept warm and were not cold or hot. At this time, the 6 cucumbers were no longer cucumbers in Qing Lingxiang's eyes, but silver. 6 silver ingots were neatly placed there. They were green and almost the same thickness. The silver ingots were very beautiful. "Sir, how is it? Is it comfortable to eat this kind of cucumbers in the winter?" Song Jinggong found the right time to ask. Qing Lingxiang nodded his head vigorously. Good stuff. Zijin, you've put in a lot of effort. I didn't expect to be able to eat fresh cucumbers even when it's snowing. I wonder if Zijin only found these 6. In an instant, County Magistrate Qing thought of many things. If he gave this cucumber to the higher-ups would definitely think well of him. He just didn't know how many cucumbers there were. I don't know if you would like to eat it, so I've brought 6 sticks this time. If you think it's okay, I'll bring you more when I get back. It'll be enough for you to eat for a whole winter. Song Jinggong had actually brought a lot this time and was preparing to sell it, so he deliberately said this. Where did the cucumber come from? Is there a way to keep the cucumbers in summer until now? County Magistrate Qing was most curious about this. Song Jinggong shook his head in Weiwei and replied, There's no way. The cucumbers in summer can only be kept for 20 days at most, and they can't have thorns on them. Cucumbers are grown. 2 months ago, they were planted by a person on Zhuangzi. They can be eaten today. County Magistrate Qing was sitting there calmly at first, but when he heard that the cucumbers were grown, he immediately stood up and stared into Song Jinggong's eyes, wanting to know if he was lying. Seeing that Song Jinggong's eyes were clear and did not evade at all, he knew that it was probably true. Zijin, tell me quickly. How did the cucumbers grow? Was it that expert? Good ability. If he taught the method to the people of Tang, wouldn't they be able to eat fresh cucumbers in the winter? Moreover, the cucumbers are in the north and won't occupy other lands in the winter. The people will have another source of income for no reason. Great merit, this is a great merit. Zijin, that person on Zhuangzi will definitely be praised and rewarded. How about this, Zijin will go back tomorrow and bring that person here. I want to submit a memorial. County Magistrate Qing stood up and did not sit back down. He paced back and forth with his hands behind his back, talking as he walked. He did not notice Song Jinggong's helpless expression at all. After a while, when he saw that Song Jinggong did not speak, he stopped and looked over. Song Jinggong smiled bitterly and said, Sir, people on Zhuangzi also need to earn money. There are so many people who need to be fed. That person is very good to the villagers. Today, every villager gave a lot of things for free. He was also afraid that the heavy snow would crush the houses, so he specially paid for the houses and the kong beds. Sir, you also know how much the cucumbers are worth in winter. Zhuangzi is waiting for the cucumbers to be sold for good money. Sir, if you ask me to say it, I dare not. If I offend that person, even if I run to the ends of the earth, it will be useless. Sir, you may not know what that person is capable of, but I have already experienced it. Oh. That's right. The cucumbers are not expensive even if sold for 10 copper coins. Naturally, there will be rich people who will buy them. Moreover, it's almost the new year. To be able to eat a mouthful of refreshing cucumbers on New Year's Eve will definitely make one feel different. After County Magistrate Qing heard Song Jinggong's explanation, he also understood. Who would be willing to tell others such a recipe? Since it could be grown, it would definitely be eaten continuously for several months. How much money could one make in winter? Just thinking about it was frightening. However, if he did not take it out, it would not be good if he was targeted. He knew the value of the cucumbers in winter, but others were not stupid either. What if he offended someone even more powerful? Qing Lingxiang considered this matter and slowly sat down. He looked at Song Jinggong and finally warned, Zijin, these cucumbers are not easy to deal with. It could easily attract a fatal disaster. Why didn't that expert on Zhuangzi think of this? As long as you sell it, people will know. If you are not willing to give up the recipe, I will pretend that I did not see it today. Sir is indeed a good official. You can think of the people under your rule. Sir, rest assured. Before coming here, that person told me that if Sir says so, then I will tell you the solution. If Sir wants to claim credit, then I will immediately go back and uproot the cucumbers. Song Jinggong only had one feeling towards the young master, which was to look up to a tall mountain. Oh. You calculated that too. What's the solution? County Magistrate Qing was also afraid. Was this still a human? He took one step at a time. In reply to Sir, the solution is not difficult. It is to transport the cucumbers here and let Sir help to sell them. Sir, don't be anxious. When the time comes, if someone asks, Sir can say that the cucumbers on Zhuangzi actually bear new fruits. At this time, it is almost the Chinese New Year, so no one will investigate carefully. When the Chinese New Year is over and the money is more or less earned, the Zhuangzi will not continue to sell them. Instead, it will give some to Sir for you to give to others. If someone investigates, they will definitely ask Sir where Zhuangzi is. At that time, the cucumbers will naturally be killed. Song Jinggong told the method. In fact, there was one thing that they did not mention. It could also be said that he was lying. Zhang Xiaobao instructed him to do so. Another thing was that if the county magistrate did not warn him, he would immediately go back and harvest all the cucumbers this time. He would remove the other cucumbers and transport the collected cucumbers far away. He would use another identity to sell them elsewhere and still make a lot of money. This was not what impressed Song Jinggong the most. It was what the young master said, that the county magistrate would help him to think of things to a large extent. The other preparation was just for the unexpected. Of course, Song Jinggong did not know how much psychology the young master had studied. From his several contacts with the county magistrate, he guessed the county magistrate's character. He only thought that the young master was good at prediction. The county magistrate sighed. The person on the Zhuangzi could not make any more comments. Not only did he sell the cucumbers, but he also gave him a credit. It was an auspicious sign. With the cucumbers as evidence, he had no choice but to believe it. The county magistrate asked him to give them to others. Did he need to ask who he could give them to? He could not refuse such a good thing. Once the auspicious sign appeared, no matter what the higher-ups thought, they would want to follow suit. Then, his future would be bright. Thinking of this, County Magistrate Qing nodded and said, well, since it is before the Chinese New Year, I will pick more cucumbers. 2 days before the Chinese New Year, I will sell them. Zijin, you haven't eaten yet, right? Just right, I will use 3 cucumbers to make 2 dishes. Zijin, let's try it together. County Magistrate Qing did not cherish it anymore. Since there were more, he would not miss a few cucumbers from his family. He ate 3 cucumbers first and sent the other 3 cucumbers later for his family to try. Song Jinggong was not in a hurry to leave this time. He gladly complied. The cold wind blew from time to time. Even so, it did not make the people on the Zhuangzi side of the Zhang family and Wang family feel anything. The old cow of Qin House family was killed. One of the cows that Zhang Xiaobao had bought some time ago was also killed. This cow really had to be killed. As soon as it died in Qinhao's family, it fell into a ditch and broke its leg. Once the two cows were killed, there was a lot of meat. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan discussed for a while and decided to let the two people on the Zhuangzi side of the family have a meal together. It could also be considered as promoting the good of the main family. Naturally, they could not just eat the beef. The meat of the two cows was really not enough to share. Moreover, they had to leave some for the new year. They could only add some radishes to make a few big pots of beef stewed with radishes. They asked the people on the Zhuangzi side of the family to eat together. They made cornbread with rice flour and added a few salted vegetables. Together with the light stew, it was not bad to eat hot in this winter. In this way, they did not need to kill two cows. One cow was not considered to have the tendons and other miscellaneous things. Just the meat alone was enough. They added some butter. A pot of stew did not need too much beef. The farmers were not picky. It was fine as long as there was food. The aroma in the few big pots had already drifted out long before the meat was cooked. The adults were better off and could hold it in. The children sniffed their snot and anxiously swallowed their saliva. Some of the braver ones even went to the pot to take a look. In order to not let everyone freeze, a few bonfires were built in the open space outside. The two farmers on the Zhuangzi side of the bonfires gathered around, chatting and laughing. They only got up to help when the meat was ready. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also rushed over at this time. They wanted to eat with everyone. Wang Wan was holding a handful of dried coriander in her hand. Zhang Xiaobao was holding a bowl of chili sauce by himself. Chapter 56. Delicious, really delicious. Come, Xiaobao, help me tear this piece of meat open. You take that side. The beef stewed with radishes was cooked. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan used a bowl to eat. Pomegranate had found the kind of meat without tendons, and the pieces were relatively small. Even so, it was strenuous for the two of them to eat. They had to use their hands to tear the meat into small pieces and slowly chew them. Wang Wan found a piece that was relatively large. It was not easy for her to use her small hands, so she called Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao used both his hands, and so did Wang Wan. Only then did they manage to tear the meat open. The meat is obviously not completely rotten, but they actually said it was ready to eat. Why didn't they think about the two of us? Zhang Xiaobao dipped the half piece of meat into the spicy sauce, stuffed it into his mouth, and chewed vigorously as he complained. People eat meat like this. Why are you biting it when it is already rotten? I don't want to eat meat. It is too strenuous. Drink some soup and eat some radishes. Wang Wan swallowed the meat with difficulty and decided to change her taste. Pomegranate was not willing to eat with so many people at once, so she only served the two little ancestors at the side. When she heard Wang Wan's words, she went to the pot and scooped some radishes and soup. She sprinkled some chopped coriander on top. It tasted good to drink a mouthful of the soup. When a child in the village saw that the two most precious people in Zhuangzi only ate radishes and did not eat meat, he was immediately moved. He said to his parents beside him, "Dad, Mom, the little master only ate radishes and left the meat for us." The little dog of Guzhuang definitely did not believe what I said, but it is true. His parents were also moved, but it was not because of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan drinking soup and eating carrots. They also knew that such a big child would not be able to eat beef at all. What moved them was that the young master and young lady didn't act high and mighty, but ate with them. It was cold outside, and this meal was specially prepared for them. For them to be able to do this at such a young age, it could only mean one thing: and that was that the masters of the main family usually told the children this. With such a master, what was there for him to be dissatisfied with? The two of them had rushed back from outside. When they arrived, Guzhuang's people had also encountered them and asked them about it. When they said that the owner of the house was treating them to beef, the look in Guzhuang's eyes could never be forgotten. Xiao Bao, look at how happy the villagers are eating. In the future, it would be great if I could often bring the villagers to eat a meal. Unfortunately, there was too little beef. This time, we were fined 12 taels of silver. Why didn't these officials think of us? Wang Wan drank a few mouthfuls of soup and ate too much. She sat there to rest for a while and complained to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao originally wanted to say, indeed, there are no good people in the officials, and it's the same in every dynasty. When the words came to his mouth, he changed his mind. He didn't want Wang Wan to think about the past. Everyone was happy, so there was no need to evoke memories. He could only say, after all, cattle are precious. They are used to farm, which shows that they value agriculture. In fact, horses are also good, but they are used to equip troops and pull carriages. I don't know if there are curved plows now. I will ask later. If there are, then forget it. If there aren't, we can make it ourselves. I remember that there are a few beef bones in the pot. Let's eat them. I don't want to eat them. Let's give that to the children. There are still a lot of them at home. Why should we snatch their things? Do you know how to breed cattle? It's the kind that can keep every child, and can even have one child every year. When Wang Wan heard that to eat bone marrow, her eyes lit up and dimmed. She wanted to do animal husbandry. Zhang Xiaobao scooped up a piece of butter floating on top of the soup and put it in front of Wang Wan's mouth. No, I didn't learn it at that time. There was a person in prison who was an expert in this field, a real expert. He wrote a paper that was stolen by someone. He wanted to prove that he wrote it, but the other party was powerful and locked him up. At that time, he saw that I was eager to learn and really wanted to teach me. Unfortunately, I didn't have any intention to learn at that time. I just listened to him talk about agriculture and animal husbandry. He talked about the curved plows a lot, so I remembered it. He always praised this kind of plows. I remember that at that time, I was learning things from a burglar next to me. I learned how to pick locks from that person. Not only do you know the principle, you also need to train your ears and feel. Later on, I carried some iron wires of different thicknesses and magnets of different sizes. Magnets? What's the use of magnets? It doesn't seem to be necessary to pick a safe, right? Wang Wan was gradually attracted by Zhang Xiaobao's words. As someone who specialized in catching burglars, she was interested in this field. What safe? It's a door lock. Some door locks need magnets. The key itself is magnetic. Some magnets attract, and some separate. The magnets I carry not only have to be of different sizes, but also have to have both magnets. It's a technical job. I feel that if I can give a degree, it'll be a master's degree, and the one who teaches me will definitely be a doctor. Zhang Xiaobao poured away the cold soup and let Pomegranate continue to scoop it. He said to Wang Wan as if he was telling a joke. So you know the principle of unlocking. Can you make locks? Wang Wan asked curiously. Of course, if you want to pick locks, you have to know how. Then you can sell locks. Wang Wan suggested. If I don't do it, how can I do it without a spring? Hurry up and eat, then go back to sleep. Zhang Xiaobao directly refused. Wang Wan was just casually asking. Seeing that it was impossible, she didn't say much. She finished the soup and radish and patted her stomach. She was full. After the two of them left, the people here ate faster. Just now, they were all controlling themselves. After the meal, the remaining bones were brought back to the families of the children who were breastfeeding. They could cook the bones twice when they went back. The bone marrow inside could be directly fed to the children or the mother. In Zhuangzi, County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang was also eating. There were a total of 6 dishes, 1 soup, 4 meat dishes, and 2 vegetarian dishes. One of the vegetarian dishes was cold shredded cucumber with mashed garlic. The other dish was scrambled cucumber with eggs, which had a pleasant fragrance. The soup was cucumber and garlic sprout soup, which was salty and mild. Song Jinggong chatted with the county magistrate while drinking wine. The dishes he ate were basically the 4 meat dishes. He basically didn't touch the cucumber. He could eat whatever he wanted when he went back and wouldn't fight with the county magistrate. 1½ cucumber was cold shredded cucumber, 1 was scrambled eggs, and the other half was boiled in soup. Seeing that the county magistrate was so calculating, how could he dare to eat? County Magistrate Qing Lingxiang didn't think too much about it. With a smile on his face, he said some words about knowledge and made a poem that he thought was quite good on the spot. After receiving Song Jinggong's flattery, he picked up 2 cucumbers and put them in his mouth to taste carefully. Finally, he got to the point. Zijin, your Zhuangzi isn't far from here, right? Yes, sir is right. It's not far. I can go back and forth in a day. Song Jinggong toasted and replied. It's good that it's not far. Since it's not far, ask the expert on your Zhuangzi to come here. I want to meet this person. County Magistrate Qing actually wanted to get an advisor. If he could really recruit that person to his side, he wouldn't have to worry about anything. Song Jinggong was so scared that he trembled. Bringing the young master and young lady here on such a cold day, what if they caught a cold? Moreover, they were so young. If he really pushed them out, wouldn't that be harming others? No matter what, he couldn't agree to this. Sir, this won't do. That person has a weird temper. It's only because that Zhuangzi saved his life that he went there. I haven't seen him before. Every time we talk, there's a screen between us. How about this, if you have any instructions, I'll help you pass them on. Song Jinggong, of course, knew what the county magistrate wanted to do. The meaning of his words was also clear. If you, the county magistrate, need help with something, I'll help you ask. When the other party comes up with an idea, I'll come back and tell you. There was a trace of regret on County Magistrate Chang's face. He nodded and scooped some soup into his bowl. After drinking it in one gulp, he said, all right, then I'll have to trouble Zijin. Is Zhou Shihu still doing well? Young Master Zhou is a good person. It's just that there's a shortage of brown sugar in the surrounding areas recently. Sir, why don't you persuade him? It's not easy to sell too much white sugar. After all, the price is high. Oh, I just thought of something. That person said that during the new year, you can bring some grain and oil to the poor people in the county to take a look. After all, you love the people like your own children. You should let the people under your rule feel the favor of the imperial court. Zhuangzi can take out 1,000 dan of grain and 100 dan of oil for you. Song Jinggong followed up with another matter. This was also something that had been instructed beforehand. County Magistrate Chang's eyes lit up. Of course, he understood the meaning of these words. This was to give him political achievements. If he really did this and sent the cucumbers over, his evaluation this year would definitely be excellent. That expert was really reasonable. It was a pity that he couldn't come over to help. He immediately said, all right, I understand. The people don't have it easy, especially those who have illnesses in their families. I will remember what your Zhuangzi did. I believe that the people will also be very grateful. Come, Zijin, eat. After waiting until they were almost done eating, Song Jingong said goodbye. He promised that after 2 days, a large amount of cucumbers would be sent over, so that County Magistrate Cheng Lingxiang could rest assured. The sky gradually darkened. Every household began to prepare for dinner. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were busy again. They stood in the kitchen and gave instructions. Tonight's staple food had to be prepared according to their wishes. The noodles were rolled into thin slices and then cut into strips to make noodles. There was already something here, so the beef was also cut into slices. The chili sauce and eggs were fried together, and then the beef slices were put into the beef bone soup. A layer of shredded cucumber and coriander was placed on top of the beef fried noodles. A bowl of beef fried noodles was ready. This time, the beef was not so hard. The two of them could eat some of it. Before it was served, they sprinkled sesame oil on it. They could eat comfortably without the need for vegetables. Wang Wan was eating with Zhang Xiaobao's family. She ate a mouthful of noodles and asked with her lips, "Xiaobao, do we need to prepare anything for the Lunar New Year? Make some firecrackers. Make something simple. Make it with a ratio of 1 niter, 2 sulfur, and 3 charcoal. Just listen to the sound. Don't make those 75%, 10%, or 15% firecrackers." Zhang Xiaobao hesitated before saying this idea. Today, he was delayed by some matters and only had 2 chapters left. He would make up for it tomorrow. For every chapter he made up, he would punish himself with 1 chapter. He would update 3 chapters normally and 5 chapters tomorrow. Chapter 57. The sky was dark, the clouds were dark, the snow was flying, and the wind was blowing. On the 26th day of the 12th lunar month of the 2nd year of the Kaiyuan era, just 3 days after the Lunar New Year, the 4th snowfall of winter began to fall. This snowfall was heavier than the previous ones, falling like pieces of paper. The county magistrate Cheng Lingxiang was the busiest today. He not only had to arrange the affairs of the yamen, but he also had to help sell the cucumbers. The accumulated 5,000 kilograms of cucumbers would be sold in the next few days. These were all delivered by Song Jingong these days. In addition to these cucumbers to be sold, there were 200 kilograms of cucumbers left for County Magistrate Cheng. As for who he gave them to, it was not someone else's business. At noon, Cheng Lingxiang put on his official uniform and took a group of people to a warehouse in the county. These people in the yamen still did not know what the county magistrate was going to do. It was the holidays, but he still called them out. As the door of the warehouse opened, countless baskets made of bamboo appeared in front of them. Cheng Lingxiang knew that these were cucumbers that were processed with some methods to keep them fresh. The older ones were more than 10 days old, and the fresh ones were just delivered this morning. "Sir, you called us here just to see these baskets?" The deputy county magistrate of Sanshui County, Zhang Mingxing, asked what others were thinking. Cheng Lingxiang shook his head mysteriously and pointed to one of the baskets. "Someone come and open the basket." Naturally, someone came forward and carefully opened the basket in front of him. What appeared in front of him was a layer of silk. He looked back at the county magistrate, and under the county magistrate's signal, he lifted the silk and suddenly couldn't help but scream. Under the silk were neatly stacked cucumbers with thorns on the top. Looking back at the snow that was still falling, this person felt that he was not mistaken about the season. It was really winter, but the cucumbers in front of him were not fake. "Sir, cucumbers, these are all cucumbers?" This person looked back at the county magistrate and stuttered a little. It seemed that he wanted to get confirmation from the county magistrate. "Yes, they are cucumbers. These are all cucumbers, more than 5,000 kilograms in total. It is an auspicious sign. There is a farm, and there are cucumbers on the vine that should have died. Last night, I have written a memorial, and I will ask someone to send it out later. This was exactly what Qing Lingxiang wanted. When he saw cucumbers for the first time, it was also the same when he was clear about the season. It seemed that his surprise back then was not excessive, and it was the same for others. The other people in the yamen also came forward to take a look. They all wanted to touch the cucumber with their hands, but they were afraid that they would remove the thorns and flowers on the cucumber. They all took deep breaths to savor the taste of the cucumber. The deputy district magistrate carefully pinched the end of a cucumber and held it in front of him to take a closer look. He then moved his nose closer to smell it and nodded, "Auspicious sign, it's indeed auspicious sign. I just don't know which zhuangzi is the auspicious sign." "Which zhuangzi?" "There's no need to rush now. You'll know when the time comes. For now, help this official carry the cucumbers out. We'll sell them on the streets. 30 copper coins per caddy. You can buy at most 5 caddies at a time. If you want to buy more, line up at the back." County Magistrate Qing did not want others to know about the location of Zhangjie Zhuangzi now. There were still cucumbers there. If someone went to investigate now, all the cucumbers would be killed immediately. What a pity. What they had to do now was to help sell the cucumbers. 30 copper coins per caddy was the price set by the expert over there. It was agreed at the beginning that people without money would not enjoy this thing. Even if you sold it for 10 copper coins per caddy, no one would be willing to buy it. The rich people did not care whether it was 10 copper coins or 30 copper coins. This was the price for today. Some people were allowed to buy and try it first. Today, they would only sell the earliest 2,000 caddies. If they did not sell out, the next day it would be 50 copper coins, the day after tomorrow it would be 80 copper coins, and the day after that it would be 100 copper coins. The closer it was to the new year, the higher the price. "Sir, it doesn't seem right to do this. We are all officials of the imperial court. If we sell vegetables, we will be impeached." When the deputy district magistrate heard that they had to sell the cucumbers personally, he felt embarrassed and tried to persuade them. "How is this selling vegetables? We are selling auspicious signs. Quickly go and get a weight. I want those that can weigh up to 1 copper coin. Carry 2,000 caddies of cucumbers to the entrance of the yamen. I want to promote auspiciousness for the imperial court there." Qing Lingxiang had thought of this and did not mention anything about selling vegetables. "But sir, the price is too high." The deputy district magistrate was still a little hesitant. Qing Lingxiang stared at him. "What do you mean by selling? To you, I am selling. To others, I am not selling. I am giving auspicious signs. Those who pay money are asking for auspicious signs. They can get it for 30 copper coins per caddy." Understood. Everyone else understood. The county magistrate played it beautifully. He had a reputation and money. The deputy district magistrate had to admit that this was indeed a good excuse. He thought of selling, oh no, giving away money again. "Sir, I wonder how the money after giving away money. Is it enough to give some to Zhuangzi?" When Qing Lingxiang heard what the deputy district magistrate said, he instinctively took a step back. He was afraid that he would be implicated by the deputy district magistrate. How would he dare to touch the money? He was not afraid of Zhuangzi. He was worried about the master. The money added up to only a few hundred taels. The master was still waiting for the new year. If he really took the money, the consequences would be. When he thought of this, he stared at the deputy district magistrate again and said, "This money has to be given to that Zhuangzi. We are officials. We just want to promote the imperial court's benevolence and have auspicious signs. On the 30th day, all of you still have to follow me out. That Zhuangzi is benevolent and righteous. He will take out 1,000 dan of grain and 100 caddies of vegetable oil for us to help the poor people in the county. Sir, we understand. The deputy district magistrate finally understood. The district magistrate had already made an agreement with that Zhuangzi. He would help the district magistrate create auspicious signs and give him a chance to gain political achievements. After the matter was settled, the people in the yamen started to move. They moved the baskets of cucumbers out and put them on the carriages outside. Each basket weighed about 50 caddies. A total of 40 baskets were moved out. They did not need to be reminded and consciously became more careful. It was 30 copper coins. One cucumber could be exchanged for a few caddies of rice. The snow outside did not have any signs of stopping. It made the weather less cold. 4 big carriages brought the cucumbers back to the entrance of the yamen. Someone had already taken the cucumbers and was ready to sell them. The people were not worried that they would not be able to sell them. Although the price was scary, eating cucumbers in the winter was unique. There were many rich people. Why would they be afraid that they would not be able to afford it? However, these people were all thinking that since cucumbers were so expensive, they would not be able to bear to buy 1 caddy of cucumbers. They really wanted to eat them. Well, the people on Zhuangzi said that you have worked hard to manage the people in the county with me. After the sale on the 29th of the 12th lunar month, everyone can bring back 5 caddies of cucumbers home. It's the new year and you can try something new. Qing Lingxiang seemed to know what his subordinates were thinking and said slowly. At the same time, he was impressed that Zhangjie Zhuangzi knew how to conduct himself. The last time he gave him money, he was like this. This time, he did the same. When the people heard this, they were happy. At the same time, they were surprised by the Zhuangzi's generosity. There were more than 100 people in the yamen and he gave them so many cucumbers. When they knew which Zhuangzi he was in the future, they would help when they needed help. Qing Lingxiang looked at the expressions of his subordinates with satisfaction and continued, that Zhuangzi also said that it is not enough to just have the vegetables. Everyone should bring back 3 caddies of vegetable oil and 5 caddies of carrots. The carrots have to be fried in oil when we go back. He said that it is good for the body. Don't eat it with other carrots and don't drink it. Everyone nodded. Of course, they knew about the carrots and vegetable oil, especially how to eat carrots. Someone had already told them when they were selling them. Drinking and eating carrots was not a big deal, but they could get sick. Similarly, the price of these 2 things was not cheap, especially the carrots. They cost 20 copper coins per caddy and were sold to the restaurant every day. It seemed that the vegetable oil, cucumber, chili sauce, and carrots were all from the same family, Zhangjie Zhuangzi. This time, they had guessed it, but when they looked at the county magistrate's eyes and the benefits they received this time, they all chose to forget. They were not stupid. They knew that once this matter was spread, Zhangjie Zhuangzi would not have a good time. If Zhuangzi was in trouble, would they still want to get anything in the future? County Magistrate Qing regretted his words as soon as he finished speaking. He had already told them that he would talk about the carrots and vegetable oil on the last day. In the end, he could not hold it in. When he saw that his subordinates seemed to understand, he could only add, the people of Zhuangzi don't have it easy either. On the 29th, I will send you the things. When you go home, take them out for your family to try. Friends and relatives can also eat a variety of dishes during meals. His words were very clear. When they went home, they could show off. They could not mention Zhuangzi to their friends and relatives. Naturally, everyone nodded in agreement. After dealing with this, a basket of cucumbers was opened. The yamen runners did not need to be told and directly shouted, auspicious, auspicious, auspicious. Cucumbers in winter. Villagers, come and see. You can buy them at home for 30 copper coins per caddy. The Yamen runners were buying cucumbers in the middle of winter. This was a new thing. As soon as they shouted, a lot of people gathered around to watch. Chapter 58. Little girl, what are we making now? It's so dark, why can't we light a lamp? Pomegranate put some powder into the paper and put in the small strips made by the two young masters. She rolled the paper according to the method taught by Wang Wan. She had made nearly 1,000 strips in the morning, and she was still doing it, which made Pomegranate puzzled. It's used to replace firecrackers during the spring festival. You don't need to throw it into the fire. Just light it and it will make a crackling sound. Pomegranate, you buy these things. Don't tell others. These things will burn in an instant when they come into contact with a little fire. If we light a lamp, we will all be burned to death. Wang Wan made another strip and gently put it aside. She explained to Pomegranate. She knew more about the fire powder than Zhang Xiaobao. If she wanted, she could make a powerful bomb. Pomegranate knew something, but she still didn't fully understand it. She had never touched it before. She nodded and promised, "Little girl, don't worry. I will never tell others, not even my family. This thing is louder than a firecracker. Louder than a firecracker with salt thrown into the fire. If this thing is big enough, it can kill people." Zhang Xiaobao also made a strip and put it together with Wang Wan's. His face, head, and clothes were stained with the fire powder, but he didn't dare to reach out to pat it, let alone scratch his head with his hand. "Xiaobao, do all the farmers send cucumbers? Will they tell others?" Wang Wan also felt that this work was too boring. Only she and Zhang Xiaobao would do it. If it were other children, they wouldn't do the same thing for the whole morning. Of course, they have to send it. They already know what is planted there. It's the spring festival, and they all want to eat something fresh. If they really tell others, how can they wait until now? I think they are all good people. We can use the hearts of the people. Next year, we will work hard together to make their lives better. Zhang Xiaobao was now very envious of the people of this era. Those farmers were really too honest. If they were given a little benefit, they would remember it. If there was a little hope in life, they would do their best to do it. The two Zhuangzi's households did not lock their doors. He really did not know how the two Zhuangzi's people chose before coming here. When Wang Wan saw that she was almost done with the twists, she also stopped to rest. Thinking that there were so many people in the two families, but there was no disagreement, she felt that this was a blessing. "Xiaobao, we've already confirmed that the curved plow hasn't been found yet. Are you counting on this thing to increase production efficiency? Think about it some more. Do you have a better idea?" "Yes." Zhang Xiaobao thought for a while and finally spat out a word. Then he said, "We can ask them to keep the seeds of the single plants that have good yields. This way, after a few generations, there will be high-yielding varieties, which are not stable. Another way is to wait until after the spring festival and ask Erniu to take 2 people to Shandong, which is the Hunan province, to buy some stones and put them in the fields. We can also use them for drinking water and bathing. We can also use them for livestock, such as cows and horses. I just don't know if Erniu can find them." "What stones?" "They can be put in the fields and eaten." Wang Wan really did not know what stones had so many functions. "I remember 3 places where my fan stone came from, but I can't remember the other places. They are Shandong, Liaoning, and Mongolia. This thing is like normal saline. Don't underestimate the small proportion, but the effect is not small. I know this. So it's this kind of stone. In the past, we used to have this kind of stone for bathing. Also, there are mineral water places. Don't go to Mongolia, it's too dangerous. The Turks occupy it. Let's go to Shandong. What is it called? Hunan Province. What's the specific location? Wang Wan heard this name and found it familiar. It was indeed used in many places, so she agreed. I don't know, who knows the specific location? I didn't think of this at first, but I occasionally learned about it. When I was outside, I drank natural soda water, but it didn't taste good. It was not as good as the water in the river behind the orphanage before it was polluted. Zhang Xiaobao helplessly curled his lips. Thinking of that river, he felt a little uncomfortable. It was polluted, and later the factory was closed. Well, it's fine if you don't know. Pomegranate, stop for a while and eat. Today, make more cucumbers, dip them in sauce, and don't forget the meat soup. Wang Wan did not want to continue thinking about these things. After giving the order, she walked out with Zhang Xiaobao. Pomegranate put down the work in her hands and went out last. She locked the door and arranged for people to wash the two young masters. Then she went to the kitchen to arrange things. Cucumbers, cucumbers in winter. I'm auspicious. Everyone, come quickly and go back to eat. It's the new year, eat some fresh cucumbers. In Sanshui County, at the entrance of the Yamen runners were still taking turns to shout. At first, no one bought it. The people who came to watch the fun were not rich. When they heard that it was 30 copper coins for a kilogram of cucumbers, they were scared. It was too expensive. In summer, 1 copper coin could buy 3 kilograms of cucumbers. 1 egg could be exchanged for a lot. County Magistrate Ching and the others were not in a hurry. They did not expect the people to buy it. They just wanted to gather around. When the time came, some servants would naturally know the news. Sure enough, after shouting for an hour, 2 people came over. From their clothes, it could be seen that they were servants of a rich family. The 2 squeezed closer and looked at the cucumbers. They nodded and shook their heads. One of them said, "It's okay. The flowers and thorns are not missing. It's just that it doesn't look so green. 30 copper coins for a kilogram is a bit expensive." As he spoke, he raised his head and looked at the Yamen runner who bought the cucumbers. There was something different in his eyes. The Yamen runner understood at once. He wanted him to lower the price so that he could keep the money. The Yamen runner also had this kind of gaze. Without turning back to ask the county magistrate, the Yamen runner said directly, 30 copper coins. You can only buy 5 kilograms at a time. It's auspicious. How can you bargain? The Yamen runner did not care about this person's arrogance at all. The others around him were the same. Another Yamen runner chimed in, this kind of thing is not something that ordinary people can afford. It's auspicious. Can ordinary people bear it? These words were deliberately belittling the identity of the 2 people. Sure enough, when the 2 people heard these words, their faces changed. It was as if they were being scolded. The person who had not spoken until now spoke, "Don't think that you are the Yamen. Do you know who we are? Who are you?" If he couldn't afford auspicious sign, who else could he be? This county magistrate has already sent a list of auspicious signs. Not to mention you, anyone can pay the same price. You can only buy 5 kilograms at a time. If you want more, line up. If it was a normal day, the Yamen runner would be a little worried. However, there was no need to think about it today. Who would dare to cause trouble at this time? Not to mention other things, the higher-ups would eventually find out. In the 2nd year of the Kaiyuan era, the current emperor was waiting for good news. County Magistrate Ching did not go in. He just stood outside. It was not that it was not cold outside. Since it was auspicious, he had to set an example. At this time, he also spoke. How can you bargain with such auspicious signs? It's really obscene. Today, no matter how much money you pay, it won't work. Seeing that the county magistrate did not even ask about their identity, the two people were completely discouraged. They originally wanted to get some benefits, but they did not expect it to turn out like this. The two of them were not people who specially came out to buy. They just happened to encounter it. When the people in the manor came and bought it back, the master in the manor would definitely reward them. He couldn't let the opportunity slip by so easily. The attitude of the person who spoke first changed, and a smile appeared on his face. Auspicious, it's indeed auspicious. Just now, the two of us were just teasing everyone. How could we bargain? 30 copper coins for 5 caddies. Please, please, give us 5 caddies first. Hearing that, the yamen runner did not know whether to sell it or not. He turned back to look at the county magistrate. County Magistrate Cheng Lingxiang also thought about it. Just now, he had already said it. It was not good to sell it directly. If he did not sell it, he would really offend people. Moreover, the two people were the first to buy it. After thinking for a while, he said, "Well, since the two of you sincerely want to buy it, then stand aside and wait for others to buy it. I'll see if the two of you are sincere under the snow. We'll talk about it then." When the two men heard this, they finally breathed a sigh of relief. They also understood that since they had already made up their minds, they naturally couldn't change it immediately. Letting the two of them stand in the snow was the best way for them, an auspicious sign to deal with this matter. They did not dare to say anything more. It was better to be the second to buy it than to give the opportunity to others. They stood aside obediently and let the snow fall on them. Now that someone wanted to buy it, the surrounding people were unwilling to leave. They wanted to see how many people would buy such expensive things, or in other words, please. Just now, there were 2 people who wanted to buy it. Later, someone came to ask for the price. It should be a servant girl. She was actually wearing satin clothes. When she squeezed in, she saw that there was a cucumber for sale. When she heard the price, she threw 1 tael of silver without saying anything. Okay, auspicious signs are good. I'll buy 20 kilograms first. That's all. The surrounding people were amazed. She was really too rich. She actually bought 20 kilograms with 1 tael of silver. The yamen runner hesitated again. He did not know whether to sell it or not. The county magistrate, Cheng Lingxiang, had a way. "Miss, this auspicious sign can only be bought 5 kilograms at a time. Miss, you can buy 5 kilograms first. After the others in line have bought it, you can buy it." As he spoke, the yamen runner had already weighed 5 kilograms. He also weighed 5 kilograms for the 2 people. When the 2 people left, he weighed 5 kilograms for the girl. He also asked if there was anyone else who wanted to buy it. The surrounding people did not answer. This was easy. He continuously weighed 5 kilograms for the girl. She was considered to be in line. After taking the cucumber, the girl, Wei, smiled. "Thank you. There are still cucumbers in winter. The county magistrate is really capable. I'll go back and tell Master Yu." At this time, the surrounding people no longer said that the price was too high. There were really people who wanted to buy it. There were even people who paid more. The county magistrate, Cheng Lingxiang, gave the yamen runner a look. The yamen runner shouted again, auspicious signs in winter, auspicious signs in summer. Chapter 59. It was the night of the 29th day of the 12th lunar month. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were lying on the Kong bed. Pomegranate was lying next to them. All three of them had their eyes open and were wide awake. Xiao Bao, tomorrow is the new year. We are 1 year older. Do you have any thoughts about the new year? Wang Wan couldn't sleep. She looked at the ceiling with the help of the light in the room. Nothing. Let's just celebrate the new year. I'm used to it. Come closer to me. Don't touch the wall. It's burning. Zhang Xiaobao didn't sleep either. He was thinking about other things. At noon, the county yamen in Sanshui County sent news that the last batch of cucumbers had been sold for 150 copper coins per caddy. It was estimated that all of them would be sold in the afternoon. They had made a profit. Tomorrow, they would get about 300 taels of silver. They didn't plant the cucumbers in vain. Including the money they invested in the grass curtain, they only got 27 to 28 taels of silver. 10 times the profit. The people in Zhuangzi also sent some cucumbers to other places. It wasn't a small amount. Wang Wan also felt the heat beside her. She moved closer to Zhang Xiaobao and said, I didn't ask you to think about the new year. I asked you to think about Zhuangzi next year. You should at least make a conclusion. Yes, I do. This year is a special year. It's a harmonious year. With the efforts of everyone in Zhuangzi, Zhang family and Wang family have achieved good results in the construction of spiritual and material civilization. Following the tradition of Zhuangzi, to be honest. Wang Wan impatiently interrupted Zhang Xiaobao. She had heard too much and was numb to it. It's really too difficult. Without money, how can we survive next year? I have to think of something. Zhang Xiaobao calculated his own money. There were still some carrots that could be sold for 1,008 taels of silver. The soybean oil was almost sold out in the past few days. The chili sauce just happened to be sold out yesterday. It was all bought out by people who wanted to have a good new year. Generally speaking, it was not a small amount to have 1,600 to 700 taels of silver on hand. Many people would not be able to earn that much in their lifetime. However, this was not enough to satisfy him. Next year, he would need to repair the roads, plan the land, and buy a lot of things. Furthermore, he would need to bribe the officials. He heard that someone would be inspecting the land next year. Then, have you thought of one? Wang Wan helped Zhang Xiaobao remove the wound on his neck. Zhang Xiaobao also moved a little. This was the bad thing about the northwest. In the winter, there was a Kong bed below, and it was hot and scalding. Above, there was a chilly wind, and both sides were suffering. Fortunately, there was a stove in the house, which raised the temperature a little, but he could still feel a gust of wind blowing around him. Tell me, have you thought of a good idea? Wang Wan urged. There is no other way. When everyone is done with their work at the beginning of spring, I plan to set up a market at the small bridge. We have a lot of things in our warehouse. At that time, we will take out some of them every day and put them there for the two people of Zhuangzi to exchange. The things we exchanged can continue to be exchanged. Everything has to be set by the people in our courtyard and exchanged for the same value. Otherwise, we will use other money to make up for it. At that time, there will be people from the nearby Zhuangzi. At that time, you are going to collect taxes. That won't work, right? Wang Wan suddenly interrupted as she listened to Zhang Xiaobao's words. What taxes? As long as the market is set up, we will have the right to set the price. Then, we will be able to get a lot of benefits. We can build a few small warehouses and rent them to store their things. We will provide protection. We can also set up a few small tea stalls or snack bars there. We can earn some money and don't have to worry too much. Zhang Xiaobao's voice gradually weakened. It seemed that he was sleepy. That was enough. Wang Wan seemed to be infected by him. She yawned, tilted her head, and fell asleep while leaning on Xiaobao. The topic was settled. Pomegranate laid there with her clothes on. When she saw that the two young masters had finally fallen asleep, she got up and checked that the stove outside was not smoking. She sprayed some water at the place where it was connected. When she saw that there were no bubbles, she was relieved and turned to leave the room. She went outside to check on the two young masters who were still sitting there reading. She told them to pay more attention to the stove at night. Then, she went back to lie down and slowly fell asleep. Sanshui County, where the county magistrate lived behind the yamen. Qinglingxiang hugged the concubine in his arms. He couldn't sleep for a while. He was estimating how much help the cucumbers would get this time. After selling cucumbers for a few days, the news had already spread to the ears of those who wanted to know. However, no one sent anyone to inquire about it. The document that was submitted had also not been replied. It was like a stone sinking into the sea. Master, those cucumbers are so delicious. Don't give them to others. Keep them. The concubine in Qinglingxiang's arms still had a rosy face after the passion just now. She stretched out one arm and kept moving it on Qinglingxiang's body. Qinglingxiang frowned. What do women know? If I don't give them, where can I find a future? If you want to eat them, it's easy. Tomorrow, I will send someone to deliver money to them. Then, I will ask for some cucumbers back. The concubine became honest and no longer asked about this. Master is still the best. You can sell cucumbers that are usually worthless at such a price. Yes, Master is also good at other things. With this praise, Qinglingxiang touched the concubine's smooth body and was a little restless. He turned over and the passion appeared again. Early the next morning, the people sent by County Magistrate Qing set off with the heavy silver. There were a lot of people on the streets today. Everyone wanted to take advantage of the morning to buy some things that had not been prepared at home. There were also people who had not prepared the couplet at home and were anxious to ask someone to write it for them. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan woke up, the people at home were all busy, especially the cucumbers in the back. The people in the courtyard picked the cucumbers that were still wet with dew and piled them aside. They were ready to send them to the farmers on Zhuangzi later. It's the new year. It's still lively here. I don't know if I should go back or stay at your house. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao no longer drank milk. They could eat porridge and pickled vegetables made with tofu. The nutrients their bodies needed were enough. Thinking of the new year, Wang Wan did not know what to do. According to common sense, you should go back, but there are exceptions to common sense. Didn't they say that we can't be separated from each other when we can open our eyes? Once we are separated, we will cry. You can spend the new year at my house. If you can't, we can go back and forth on the eve of the new year. Zhang Xiaobao knew what Wang Wan meant. She wanted to spend the new year with him at the same time. It was as if they had completely abandoned the past. He also thought so. Since they came here, they were destined to work hard together. Okay, it's settled. When will Ernie be sent out? It's also grand on the 15th of the new year here. Wang Wan put a piece of bone marrow into her mouth and nodded in agreement. Not on the 15th, it's too late. Let's do it on the 6th of the new year. It's more tiring now, but it will be better in the future. Find a place and bring back the My Fan stone. Let's put it in earlier while the ground is still open and see how the yield is. Zhang Xiaobao decided after finishing the last mouthful of porridge. The new year was naturally different from usual. Zhang Wang clan was busy with work with the housekeeper. They did not have time to come and see their children. Those who still had family in the manor had gone back, so there was obviously less manpower. They were all ordered around in the courtyard. They were so tired that they did not want to leave, but their faces were full of joy. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had eaten, they did not exercise today. They divided the 10 bundles of firecrackers that they had made over the past few days into 5 bundles and asked someone to send them to the Wang family. They also brought pomegranate along with them. Time passed slowly under the anticipation of countless people. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan washed their hands that were covered with noodles in the basin. Even if the dumplings were made in advance, they would go to sleep for a while in order to keep watch at night. They had the willpower, but the children's bodies could not bear it. As the night came, every family lit a fire outside their house. They took out the prepared bamboo poles and threw them into the fire, making a crackling sound. The wealthier families even put in some salt to make the sound louder. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also prepared a lot of bamboo. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan went to the Wang family first and then came back. Seeing that someone was throwing bamboo into the fire, they also took out the 5 bundles of firecrackers. They would set off 3 bundles tonight, and 1 at noon and 1 at night tomorrow. They still had to do it then. They would set off 5 bundles of firecrackers on the 5th and 15th day of the new year. Zhang Wang clan, Zhang Xiaobao's father, old madam and old master Zhang also stood in the courtyard to listen to the sound. They hugged the 2 children in their arms and enjoyed this kind of family affection. When Pomegranate lit the firecrackers and covered her ears to avoid them, the whole family was surprised when there was an even louder sound. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not tell anyone that they were making firecrackers because they wanted to give everyone a surprise. In the end, not only was there a surprise, but there was also a shock. It was so loud that everyone was stunned. They only reacted when Pomegranate went to light the 2nd bundle of firecrackers. Xiaobao, what is this? It sounds like there is a lot of noise. Make more of it and sell it. Zhang Wang clan was still quite business-minded. When she saw the firecrackers being lit, she thought of business. Mom, this thing is called firecrackers. It is not easy to make, and there may be accidents. If too many people know about it, the recipe will be leaked. There are many businesses that can make money. Let's not do this first. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not want to make firecrackers known to everyone now. They thought that the Wang family's reaction would be the same at this time. My son is right. Let's go. It's time to eat dumplings. Zhang Wang clan thought about it and agreed. She did not think about it anymore and went into the house with her family. The dumplings were already in the pot. There was also a hot pot on the table. The younger generation kowtowed to the older generation to wish them a happy new year. After receiving red packets, they began to eat. Seeing the adults eating in full swing, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could only choose some things that could be bitten, such as duck blood, tofu, and small mutton. After a few bites, the 2 put down their chopsticks at almost the same time and said to each other, "It's been 3 years since the Kaiyuan era. Happy New Year." Yesterday, they had said that they would update 5 chapters, but they did not. They did not plan to celebrate their birthday, but their friends came over at night. They drank 3 bottles of beer and then half a liter of white wine and a few bottles of beer. They were drunk and wanted to make up for it today. Chapter 60. As expected, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not sleep the entire night. Zhang Xiaobao even went with his family to worship their ancestors. On the morning of the first day of the new year, several villagers from Zhuangzi came over to pay their respects to the main family. Last night, everyone was burning firecrackers. They all heard a different sound coming from the main family's courtyard, so they all casually asked around during their New Year greetings. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao discussed for a while and decided to take out a string of firecrackers for everyone to see. Last night, Pomegranate was the one who lit the firecrackers. Today, she was still the one in charge. Pomegranate finally had a chance to show her face in front of the villagers, so she hurriedly went to get the string of firecrackers. After a while, she came back and hung the string of firecrackers under a tree in the courtyard. She pinched an incense stick and lit the string that was about a foot long. Before anyone else knew what was going on, the crackling sound echoed throughout the entire courtyard. This was incredible. Last night, everyone was also burning bamboo sticks at home. When they heard the sound coming from the main family, it was only consistent and louder. Now that they were standing in front of the firecrackers, they saw one thing after another suddenly fall to the ground and turn into scraps of paper. Their ears were buzzing. Until the string of firecrackers was gone, everyone was still in shock. What exactly were those things? They were so small, but each one was like thunder. The main family was really amazing. Madame Zhang had been frightened once last night. At this time, when she saw the respectful expressions on the faces of the villagers, it was as if these firecrackers were made by him. Hearing the voices of the crowd, and then looking at her son and future daughter-in-law who were facing each other indifferently, she nodded in satisfaction. At this time, Wang Wan's parents came over together. When they heard the sound coming from outside the courtyard, they knew that it was the firecrackers that were sent to their house yesterday. Today, the two of them also came because of this. When they lit the firecrackers yesterday, the whole family was frightened, but then they were happy. With such a big noise, they thought that the evil spirits would not dare to harm them. As soon as they entered the yard, they greeted each other. After a while, Wang Wan's mother held Jiang Wang clan's hand and said, "Miss Wang Wan. Elder sister, last night, when we lit up these firecrackers in my house, the noise was very loud. This morning, when the farmer came to pay his New Year's greetings, he asked about it. After knowing that it was made by Xiao Bao and Cuckoo, he hurried over to take a look. Queen Mother of the West sighed at the magic of the firecrackers and was also a little worried. Yesterday, a person who lit the firecrackers did not know the power of the firecrackers. Even though he was told to avoid the firecrackers when they were delivered, he still stood by the side. When the firecrackers crackled, the person who lit the firecrackers was scared silly and stood there in a daze. A firecracker that was blown out flew to his hand and exploded, causing his hand to swell immediately. Early in the morning, the Wang family's housekeeper saw that this person was not very good at his work. After asking, he quickly told the master. Queen Mother of the West was scared. If one of the firecrackers was so powerful, then they made a bunch of them. If there was a spark, then the two children would be blown to bits. At first, Jiang Wang clan was smiling as she listened to her future in-laws. But as she listened, she was also scared. She hurriedly pulled her in-laws to the two children. Without saying anything, she carefully looked at them, touched their faces, and pinched their hands, afraid that something was missing. "Mother, what are you doing?" Zhang Xiaobao was puzzled by her pinching, so he looked up and asked. "Xiaobao, tell your mother, can those firecrackers kill people or not? Tell me the truth." Jiang Wang clan asked anxiously. Zhang Xiaobao nodded and thought for a while before replying, "Yes, it can. Not only can it kill people, but it can also destroy mountains and split the earth. The ones we made don't have that much power, so we just have to be careful." "What do you mean by be careful?" "Yesterday, someone in the Wang family was injured by the firecrackers. What if something went wrong when you were making those 10 firecrackers? In the future, you are not allowed to fight with Cuckoo." When she heard this, Jiang Wang clan was scared. Her son and daughter-in-law were indeed not ordinary people. Destroying mountains and splitting the earth, wasn't that the work of a god? Both sides lectured the two children, and made them promise not to do such dangerous things in the future. Then, they started to chat about their daily lives. As they were chatting, Queen Mother of the West suddenly said to Jiang Wang clan, "Sister, these firecrackers make a lot of noise. If someone is holding a wedding or holding a big event, it will be very lively. Why don't we get people to make more of them and sell them? This is another way to make money." "Sister, I don't think we can do this. What if someone learns how to make it and uses it to harm people?" Jiang Wang clan had thought about this yesterday and was a little worried. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also listening at the side. When they saw that people would want to make money from it, they sighed and wondered if they should give the recipe away. "Xiaobao, it seems that my mother is anxious to see your family's life getting better and better. What do you think we should do?" Wang Wan couldn't make up her mind. Zhang Xiaobao was also hesitating. He wanted to refuse, but he was afraid that Wang Wan's mother would be unhappy. He wanted to agree, but was also worried that the recipe would be leaked. "Sister, I have a way to prevent the recipe from leaking out. Sister, you can prepare the ingredients here, and I will find people to transport them back. When the time comes, we will make them at the Wang family's zhuangzi. It will be divided into 2 parts, and the person making it won't even know the recipe." Madame Wang was eager to earn money, so she came up with this idea on a whim. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's eyes lit up. At first, the two of them were thinking about the consequences of leaking the information, so they didn't think about this. Madame Zhang also agreed in her heart. She called Shirlu, who was at the side, to the front and instructed Shirlu to specially prepare the contents of the firecrackers in the future and send them to the Wang family's farmstead. This matter was settled. The Wang family would send people over to learn how to make firecrackers, and Pomegranate would be in charge of the ingredients alone. On the same day, the people from the Wang family came. The process of making firecrackers was simple, but the most important thing was safety. Pomegranate emphasized the various details over and over again, and asked people to follow the requirements without any mistakes. On the morning of the first day of the new year, the Wang family's zhuangzi went from house to house to deliver firecrackers to the villagers of the 2 zhuangzi. Each one hung 100 firecrackers, unlike Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's. When they gave firecrackers to one house, they told the other house to pay attention to the place, to be careful not to hurt people and to prevent fire. The villagers accepted the firecrackers one by one, and were happy and grateful to their masters. Their thoughts were simple. When they set off firecrackers in their own houses, it would cause a big commotion, and those bad people wouldn't dare to come to their houses. Night came while they were looking forward to it. Usually, there was no need to burn firecrackers on New Year's Day, but the people of the 2 zhuangzi still lit the firecrackers. Several households set them off together, one after another. For an hour, the sounds of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang zhuangzi never stopped. The people of the 2 zhuangzi families were happy, but the people of Gujia village were worried. When they heard the sounds from the other side of the river, they were all on tenterhooks. They didn't know what was going on, and it was as if there was heavenly thunder. The children were lying on their beds, covering their heads, and didn't dare to show their faces. On the morning of the 6th day of the new year, when Erniu led 2 people to leave with the young master's expectations, the people of Zhuangzi couldn't help but come over to pay their New Year's greetings. Although they said they wanted to pay their New Year's greetings, they actually wanted to ask about what happened yesterday. As a result, the villagers of Zhuangzi and Zhang Xiaobao began to talk. They said that the master of Zhuangzi gave them New Year's gifts, and even gave them these firecrackers to set off. They wanted to chase away the dirty things that were hiding in the dark. This made the people of Zhuangzi feel envious and jealous. At the same time, they were scared. If the 2 zhuangzi chased away the dirty things, wouldn't that mean that they ran over to their side? No matter what, they had to get some firecrackers to get rid of the bad luck. After asking around, they finally found out that the 2 zhuangzi families had set up a grocery store 2 months ago that sold firecrackers. They all rushed over there. When they arrived, they found that the store really did sell firecrackers. This was something that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Xiaobao had discussed earlier. If they wanted to sell firecrackers, they had to let more people know about it. Therefore, they gave one to each family in Zhuangzi. The people of Zhuangzi asked about the price. 100 firecrackers cost 3 copper coins, 500 firecrackers cost 12 copper coins, and 1,000 firecrackers cost 22 copper coins. They could be bought with cash or exchanged with other things. When the price was set, Wang Wan's mother had a hard time breathing. Pomegranate had said that 100 firecrackers cost less than 1 copper coin. As for the wages of the workers, they were all bought from Zhuangzi. They also had to work on a daily basis. It was already good enough that they could add some oil to the food when they were eating. When the people of Zhuangzi saw the price, they hesitated. They were reluctant to spend 3 copper coins to hear such a loud sound. However, when they thought about how the firecrackers could chase away the dirty things, they felt that it wasn't expensive. Since they could make such a loud noise, they thought that the cost of making the firecrackers wasn't low. Among them, there were 2 people who lived well at home. They gritted their teeth and went home to take a few pickled eggs. They went to the grocery store to exchange for a string of firecrackers and prepared to release them at night. With someone taking the lead, the others also felt that the money was well spent. They went home to take their things. They usually came to the grocery store to exchange for things. They knew that the grocery store accepted everything and the price was fair. It made things more convenient for them. The grocery store was specially prepared for the villagers by the 2 main families. When they compared themselves to the main family in Zhuangzi, they couldn't do anything but sigh. One after another, people from the Gu family in Zhuangzi came to exchange for things. They didn't buy with money. Some exchanged with rice grains, some with bacon, some with some staples that were steamed during the new year, and some with a large cart of rice and wheat stalks. The grocery store didn't refuse anything. The rice and wheat stalks were used as firewood, dung, or sent to the Wang family in Zhuangzi to raise earthworms. As long as the food didn't spoil, the servants in the 2 main families could eat it. There were also some handicrafts that were collected and shipped out to be sold. The prices in prosperous places were higher. The frequent movements of the Gu family in Zhuangzi attracted the attention of the main family. The head of this generation was the eldest son of the Gu family, named Guingxi. He stood at the door and saw that the villagers were carrying things to the other side of the river. He couldn't help but stop someone and ask, "Wu family's 3rd son, where are you going?" "Master, I'm going to the grocery store over there to exchange for something new. It's a firecracker that can chase away the dirty things. The sound of that firecracker is like thunder. Because I want to make up for what I did yesterday, there will be at least 6 chapters today. I realized something. I'm almost on the first page of the newcomer rankings. I'm currently 13th. If I move forward, I'll be on the first page. The gap isn't big. Everyone, help me recommend me." Chapter 61. Firecrackers. Guingxi was puzzled. "Yes, master. Didn't you hear the noises from the Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi last night? It's the sound of firecrackers. Once they make a sound, those dirty things won't dare to stay there. Won't they all come to our side? I want to change some too." The Wu family's 3rd son was in a hurry to leave, but he did not dare to offend the master. He could only speak as fast as he could. Guingxi nodded. "They sell firecrackers in the grocery store?" "Yes, there are quite a few. There are 100, 500, and 1,000. They sell firecrackers as many as 1 string." The Wu family's 3rd son continued to answer. Guingxi did not say anything this time. He waved his hand and let the Wu family's third son leave. He stood there and stared at the river, lost in thought. The Zhang family and Wang family's Zhuangzi used to be about the same as his Gu family village. The Zhangjia Zhuangzi was slightly better. After all, they collected enough food for 100 people and did not need to hand it over. But in recent months, something had happened to them. There were flocks of chickens and ducks in Zhuangzi. During the autumn harvest, they even came over to help him eat the grasshoppers. Later on, chili sauce was produced. He also asked someone to buy some from the grocery store. It was really good. Later on, he brought back so many carrots. It was said that the price of carrots was now 20 copper coins per caddy. There was still demand but no market. Then, vegetable oil was produced. It was cheaper than meat oil. It was really good. With all these transactions, his life became much better. He looked at the villagers in Zhuangzi and looked at the villagers in Zhuangzi. There was no comparison at all. When the villagers in his village mentioned the Zhang family and Wang family village, they were all envious. He also wanted to make Zhuangzi better, but he did not have the ability. Look at the two masters. They built things called Kong beds for the villagers. It was warm to sleep on them. They also helped to repair the houses and gave gifts during the new year. He also wanted to, but he did not have the money. There were a few Kong beds in the courtyard. It was really comfortable to sleep on. As Gu Yingxi thought about this, he felt a sense of helplessness. When he saw people walking towards the grocery store, he felt even more uncomfortable. He was a farmer in Zhuangzi, yet he had to buy the things he needed from someone else's grocery store. In the past, everyone was more or less the same, so it didn't seem like much. But now, the two Zhuangzi over there were very good to the other Zhuangzi. Now that there was a comparison, the Zhuangzi on his side felt uneasy. No, if this continued, the Zhuangzi would be finished. He had to think of a solution. Gu Yingxi felt a sense of urgency. He turned around and returned to the courtyard. He was going to find someone to discuss this matter. He was also preparing to come up with a new business. When the time came, he would treat the villager better. The villagers of Gujia village did not know that the main family wanted them to have a better life, so they were thinking of a way. Now, they were all holding things and lining up in front of the grocery store, waiting to exchange for firecrackers. Among them, there were some who were quick-witted. They looked at the price and found that the more firecrackers they bought, the cheaper it would be. The one with 1,000 heads only cost 22 copper coins. If it was the one with 100 heads, it would cost 30 copper coins. That was 8 copper coins less. The man thought of something and nudged the person beside him. Wu family Xiao-san, which one do you want? Sigo, why do you want to buy it too? I want to buy the one with 100 heads. The Wu family Xiao-san was still complaining in his heart that he was stopped by the master of the main family just now. When he arrived at the grocery store, he would need to line up for a period of time. From time to time, there would be people from the Zhang family and Wang family entering the store. They did not need to line up. After all, this grocery store was specially opened for them. Just as he was lamenting, he heard a reply from the person beside him. Yes, I also want to buy the one with 100 heads. Why don't we ask the people next to us? If there are 10 people who want to buy the one with 100 heads, we can buy the one with 1,000 heads together. It will be cheaper. When the time comes, we can split up and buy the one with 100 heads each. The man called Sigo and the Wu family Xiao-san discussed. When the Wu family Xiao-san heard this, he also felt that it was a good deal. He nodded and began to ask the people around him. In the end, after a few words, the people around him understood. The dozens of people formed groups of 10 and handed the items to the person in front of them. After that, they would divide the goods among themselves. In this way, not only was it cheaper, the lines were also shorter, and the speed was several times faster. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also strolling around accompanied by Pomegranate and a manservant. They just happened to come to the grocery store. Seeing the scene in front of them, the two of them looked at each other in surprise. These people were smart and knew how to get the biggest profit. Huzi, go and ask what's going on over there. Why do they want to buy the firecrackers like this? Zhang Xiaobao turned his head and ordered the manservant. Huzi immediately went over. After a while, he understood the situation and came back to report. Little young master, there is a man called Sigo over there. It was his idea. In this way, there will be fewer people in the line, and they can save some money. Each family can save about 1 copper coin. Now, they can buy 1 egg. When the chickens lay eggs, they can save 2 eggs. Little young master, do you want to raise the price of the 501,000 firecrackers? Good, he's a talent. There's no need to raise the price. Just sell it like this. Our firecrackers are mainly sold not to the people of Gujia village, but to some big buyers. You go and call Sigo for me. Zhang Xiaobao was happy. Although it was just a simple idea, if it was him and Wang Wan, they could think of it immediately. So many villagers did not think of it, but the man called Sigo thought of it. It had to be said that it was a little special. Sigo had just bought the firecrackers and was dividing them. There were also things from each family. The value was different, so they had to be properly exchanged. After dividing the firecrackers to 2 families, Huzi came over and said to Sigo, Sigo, right? My little young master wants you to come over. Who is your little young master? I'm busy. If there's something, let him come over. Sigo was patiently counting the number of firecrackers. When he heard the voice, he did not raise his head and said unhappily. The people next to him raised their heads and saw that they all knew this person. He was one of the people in Zhangjie Zhuangzi's courtyard. They pondered over his words and looked in another direction. Sure enough, Zhangjie Zhuangzi's little young master and Wang family's Zhuangzi's little young lady were there. Someone next to him quickly touched Sigo and said to him, Sigo, hurry up. The Zhang family's little young master wants you. Hurry up, don't let him wait. Everyone in Guzhuang knew that the Zhang family and the Wang family had an arranged marriage. This was not a big deal. After all, Zhangjie Zhuangzi was powerful and could not control the people in Guzhuang. However, they all heard that the benefits given to the Zhuangzi were all from these 2 children. Just by hearing the name of the grocery store, they knew that it was the Baowan grocery store. They also often heard from the 2 Zhuangzi's little young master and little young lady's good deeds. When they met people outside, they would greet them politely and kindly. This made them respect them, so they urged Sigo. When Sigo heard that it was the little young master of the Zhang family, he immediately stood up and smiled apologetically at Huzi. Without saying anything, he walked towards Zhang Xiaobao. Before he could get close, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came forward holding hands. As soon as they met, before Sigo could speak, Zhang Xiaobao spoke first. You're still busy over there, so I'll send someone over to disturb you. Please forgive me if I've offended you. As he spoke, he cupped his hands and bowed to the 4 dogs. Wang Wan also followed suit and bowed. Sigo, who was flattered, felt that his nose was sore. He blinked his eyes hard and felt better. He quickly wanted to kneel down, but was supported by Huzi. The corner of Sigo's mouth moved. He didn't know what to say. When had he ever been treated like this? Moreover, the 2 in front of him were 2 little ancestors on Zhuangzi. No wonder when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family's farmers mentioned these 2 people, they were so respectful. Hearing these words and seeing them bow, Sigo actually felt warm on this cold winter day. Many people in Guzhuang were also watching. When they saw the two children acting like this, they all sighed in their hearts. Look at them, they were so sensible at such a young age. This was what Zhang Xiaobao's parents taught him. Then they looked at the little young master on Zhuangzi. He was already 6 years old this year, but when he met the farmers, he acted like he was superior and ordered them around as if they were animals. While the people in Guzhuang were sighing, Zhang Xiaobao spoke again. See, do you have a name? In reply to the little young master, this lowly seagull has a lowly life. How could I have a name? I didn't know what my surname was since I was young. The person in charge of household registration gave this lowly one the surname Su. The little young master will call this lowly one Seago. A lowly name is easy to raise. Seago finally recovered a little. When he spoke, his voice was still a little shaky like Wei Wei. Oh, then I'll call you Su Si. What kind of contract did you sign in Gujia village? Zhang Xiaobao asked. There were 2 types of contracts, and each type had 2 types of contracts. They were divided into 2 types, the adult contract and the land contract. The 2 types were the life contract and the death contract. The life contract allowed the owner to leave when the time came, but before the time came, they had to compensate the owner. The death contract lasted for a lifetime, and it was very rare for the owner to leave. In reply to the little young master, this lowly one signed a life contract to rent land for 5 years. Today is the last year, so I have to sign a new one. Seago replied. His attitude became more and more respectful. When he called him Su Si, he had the urge to cry. If you leave now, how much do you have to compensate? I need someone to do things for me, so I want to ask you to come over and help. Zhang Xiaobao began to rope him in. Really? Little young master, you really want this lowly one to do things for you? If I leave now, this lowly one will have to compensate 1 tael of silver, or 160 kilograms of grain. When Seago heard that the little young master of the Zhang family wanted him to go over, he was so excited that his whole body trembled. He quickly told him the amount of money he had to compensate. This amount of money was too much for him, and he couldn't afford it. Huzi, go to the grocery store and see if there's any cash. Take 2 taels of silver and give it to Su Si. Tell him to return the contract. As for the rest of the money, Su Si, you can spend it on whatever you want. When you're done, come to Zhuangzi to find me. Zhang Xiaobao instructed Huzi and Su Si. He didn't want to stay here any longer, so he turned around and left with Wang Wan. After Huzi took the money, he handed it to Seago and left as well. Seago was left standing there, holding the money without saying anything. Other people in Guzhuang who heard about this matter looked at him with envy. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.